This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hello, good evening, my lovely speculating family members. I'm glad to see you all here tonight. I have been super busy. Poor Eek in the Discord. I'm gonna get on there tomorrow night with you, love. I cooked dinner. I cooked, but I cooked dinner and I had made soap, some lavender soap today, and so I've just been really busy. And then I had to get all of this done so that everything was redacted, because I don't want to be sharing anybody's personal stuff. So I've got this up. Eek has dropped the Discord link. If you would like to join Discord, please feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. If anybody wants to join me on panel, I'm just going to be reading documents. I wanted to get these put out here for everybody who was interested in them. I bought a bag of organic lavender flowers from France. And I thought it was going to be a small bag. It's like a 2-gallon bag. It's huge. And then I have doTERRA oils that I dropped in the soap. And it's goat's milk soap. So it's like super soft. Yeah, it's amazing. It smells so good. Like I can smell it now. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Now, let me explain what this is. So basically some YouTubers and Seth Rogers, Sebastian Rogers' father, filed some, it's like huge. Like I got the box and I was like, oh my God. Okay. Anyway, sorry. ADHD. So Sebastian Rogers and some people filed lawsuits against some YouTubers, okay? And they got everybody they could think of to get into the lawsuit. And I can go over what I have redacted of that. I've only got about 25 pages of that redacted. We can read that after this, but basically it's just a crazy lawsuit in my humble opinion. They're going after Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady. And they got anybody who's had any kind of issues with them to get involved. And, Brittany J jumped on that bandwagon. And I mean, I don't know. I did a live about it and I wasn't trying to be mean to her. I don't think she realized what she did. And I think they were using her, as bad as I hate to say it. But like Nonsense said, I think she's kind of a useful idiot. Not that I think Brittany J's an idiot. I don't at all whatsoever. I just think that she doesn't realize what she's gotten herself into, because now we've got lawsuits that people are filing against YouTubers. And Seth Rogers had enough with the thumbnails and the saying that he was a predator and all of the things she said against Sebastian Rogers without getting Brittany J involved. But if you can add all these sob stories and personal vendettas, it makes it better. Well, SF Investigates decided to file something back, and Brittany J said last night on her live, which I'll pull up clips of, but she said, she didn't think that it was basically accepted by the court because she couldn't find it on the website. Well, no, the reason it's not on the website yet is because the original filing, the RICO charge that was filed originally by them, has not been signed by a judge or delivered yet. So you can't basically have a rebuttal to a document that has not been signed into court yet. It hasn't even been, what is the word I'm looking for? Where they go and deliver it to them. So when that happens and that paper signed by a judge, then you'll be able to find this on the website, because then there can be basically a rebuttal. For now, we have this. I got it off Twitter, and I'm going to start reading it just so these documents are out here and you guys have it. I have redacted everything, and so yeah, I feel safe reading it. So again, this was filed by SF Investigates against them for the RICO filing. It states, in the Court of Commonwealth Pleas of Delaware County, Pennsylvania, SF Investigates Tennessee licensed private investigator, non-party opposer versus At Night Media, which is Brittany J, Dog Hong, BHB, Crime and Something from TikTok, Julia, the Dog Lady, Seth Rogers, and Tony Mathis. Non-party opposition to motion for preliminary injunction. So basically, he's opposing the motion for preliminary injunction, but the preliminary injunction has not been signed by a judge yet. So this is not on the websites yet because it has to be signed by a judge, if that makes sense. It says, introduction. SF Investigates, a Tennessee licensed private investigator, hereby files this non-party opposition to the motion for preliminary injunction filed by At Night Media and the other plaintiffs. The plaintiffs, particularly At Night and its members, have no standing to seek injunctive relief in this case, as they are not licensed private investigators in the state of Tennessee, nor are they licensed in any state where their investigative activities have allegedly occurred. Their actions not only violate state licensing laws, but also improperly interfere with legitimate investigation into the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. This opposition challenges the legitimacy of the plaintiff's claims, their standings as investigators, and their jurisdiction and venue of this case. The plaintiff's motion should be denied for the following reasons. Hold on just a minute. Let me close this one out. Okay. Let me make sure you can see it. Okay. It's not, okay, so Jenny, it's a motion. They're basically saying that the preliminary injunction that Brittany J and Seth Rogers and BHB and all the people I just named filed against Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady and SF Investigates and them should be not accepted by the court. And these are the reasons. So page 2. The argument. A. Plaintiffs are operating as an unlicensed investigative agency. At Night Media, LLC, and its employees are acting as private investigation and intelligence agency without the required licensing, violating Tennessee law and the laws of other states. Their website, accessible at, and it gives the website, clearly advises services typically associated with licensed private investigators. According to their website, they offer services such as criminal investigations, covert operations, and intelligence collection. These are services that fall squarely within the purview of licensed private investigators and law enforcement agencies. Furthermore, At Night requires a $500,000 retainer to engage their services, demonstrating that they are conducting business as an unlicensed private intelligence agency. Additionally, when At Night announced they would be investigating the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, they publicly disclosed a plan to use extreme and unethical measures, such as the administration of prescription drugs, also called truth serums, and so-called truth serums. to coerce individuals into providing information. These tactics not only violate legal and ethical standards, but also further prove that At-Night is attempting to operate as an unlicensed investigative entity. Their methods are not only illegal, but also threaten to compromise the integrity of any legitimate investigation by tampering with potential evidence in a manner that would render it inadmissible in court. Plaintiff Nick the Hat prohibited from engaging in investigations by his parole conditions. Plaintiff Nick the Hat, as noted in plaintiff's own filings, is currently on parole. His parole officer restricted his ability to engage in any further involvement in this case, citing violations of his parole terms. According to their complaint, Nick the Hat has been explicitly barred from engaging with law. Hold on. Let me make sure you can see it. Okay. Oh, yeah, true serum. Okay. So basically, Nick the Hat and them came out with Seth Rogers stating that they were going to deliver truth serums. And hold on. I'm going to read through this. I know I'm kind of doing it backwards, but I'm going to read through this and then I'll show you I've got a video, but basically he said they were going to administer truth serums and they got Dog the Bounty Hunter involved and all of that. And then they decided to sue Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady because of things they said, and they got Brittany J and a whole bunch of other people involved. We're going to read that document next, what I have of it. Yeah, it's real interesting. This is the rebuttal. So I'm starting with this, but we're going to go back and read what the first document filed was after we read this. So law enforcement in any capacity and upon information and belief has been remanded to mental health care. This not only undermines his credibility, but also further demonstrates that the plaintiffs have no standing to act in any investigative capacity. Any investigative work or engagement with law enforcement attempted by Nick the Hat was done without authority, violating his parole and calling into question the validity of the plaintiff's claims. Here, hold on. Let me do it like this. Okay, so we'll go over this one after. I'll do it in order for you, my dear. So let me first show you about the truth serum thing. Hold on just a minute. Let me see. I've got it live on it. Let me share this page with you. Okay, I'm going to see if somebody's clipped it, but I did do a live on it. Okay, I don't see it there. Okay. Let's go in the Wayback Machine. If it will load. I think it starts here. Okay. So we'll go to this.
Billionaires like Elon Musk are lining up behind.
This is a live I did probably 2 months ago on, and I'm going to try to find the part where he specifically mentions using truth serums. Because they're kind of claiming that they didn't say it. And yes, the hell they did, because I've got it on here. All right. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Okay, Jenny. Unfortunately, I wish it would. I wish we could bring this child home right now, this very second. If I could wish and my wish came true, I would wish for this child to be brought back home to his loving family, all three of them, all three of his loving parents. But I don't know. I don't think this is going to work.
Okay, guys, so we're back much sooner than I thought. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were covering Joshua Zimmerman, if you guys remember Zimmerman.
Okay, so this is Nick the Hat. This is where he starts talking about, this is where he first got on the case, and he talks about using truth serums.
He was in Tennessee as well.
As
he escaped from the DeSoto County Courthouse.
I will link him
Luckily,
in the
he's back where he
description
belongs. We got 2 nights of sleep, and we are on Sebastian Rogers, a case that I should have gotten on months ago. I apologize for not getting involved months ago. I did not have.
Supposedly months ago, he was dealing with some kind of court stuff for fraud. I do believe that's a rumor I've heard. I don't have any receipts, but you can find them, I'm sure.
Haven't I? In cases like this,
let me get my banner. This is all speculation, in my opinion.
And his name was out there, but something was going on at the time. I don't recall, and I was in the middle of it, and I figured by the end of it that it had ended. Right? I don't keep up with other stories unless I'm on it because I like to stay laser focused. When I'm on Zimmerman, if you text me, like you guys saw my texts, I put a screenshot. I have hundreds of unread messages because I don't care about the weather. I don't care about going to Starbucks. I don't care about going out to drink. If you're not texting me about what I'm doing or who we're hunting or who we're looking for, I'm not saying don't talk to me, but we have rather important things to do. There are usually lives on the line. And in this case. Okay, if you're trying to get messages and text about whatever you're working on, how do you have hundreds of unread text messages? What if some of those are tips? That's concerning. And I was going to pause just a second ago to let you know that's not me. That is StreamYard. I don't know why it does that. I'm thinking about trying to go with a different streaming app because of that. But unfortunately, that's all I've got to work with right now. When I don't stream YouTube and we do the Madeline Soda, I know what role YouTubers played in that case. However, I do know the role that YouTubers have played in this case, in the Sebastian Rogers case, because we looked into Madeline Soto for a while, and there's files coming out on that. But there was somebody else that went missing around the same time by the name of Elijah View. He specifically Seth Rogers getting on here and talking, and he is, regardless of his tactics, he's keeping his son's name out here. I'll go more into that in a little bit, but circles. They were the nicest people I have ever met. Everybody. Down from Grizzly, Mel, recovery addict. The list goes on. Brandy. I'm going to forget a ton of people. Rev, JLR, everybody. These are all people that came together for one community. And it was cool because millions of people watched. Millions of people got involved. And in 14 days, we ended because quickly we stopped misinformation. Quickly, we would announce there is no arrest. There might be a SWAT truck, but there's an escapee on the loose, you idiots. Of course, I would hope there's at least one SWAT truck, right? We were there to calm down the rumors, keep the locals at ease. For this case, we're here to fix the mess that has started. This case has been not botched necessarily by police, but botched by the online community. And you guys took it way out of control. I'm sorry. You really did. There are some things you don't do, and you guys did them. You crossed all the lines. It's far from what we did for Cavalcante. I lost a lot of that respect that I had because I thought if you guys go through my tweets, I praised what we did. I said, together we beat the mainstream media. Together we united. We all came together with our followings. I didn't have a YouTube back then. I don't care about clicks. I don't care about any of that stuff. My YouTube, I didn't use it for 7-8 months. I think it was like 22,000 subs. I might have lost 5,000. I don't care. When I cover stories, I'm covering it for the few people that are affected. It's not really for the world, but I guess they want to tune in, which is fine. I like that because that way it stops the misinformation. Also, answers are long overdue. This case has been turned into step the game up and stop focusing on social media and these stupid tips that are coming in that are ridiculous. You guys are flooding the systems with bullshit. I'm sorry, but you are. Any tip that comes in could be a lead. So even if you think it's stupid, it still needs to be followed up on because you never know what. Okay, Jenny, I'm going to go over that in the morning. So you've got to follow them. You can't call. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Now, unfortunately, if they quote unquote again, this is Nick the Hat. I will link him in the. It's not credible. You are taking a couple of police away from the case for that moment, but there's other police still there working on it and available to go check more tips and to go look and et cetera, et cetera. You guys don't understand, or you do. There's a child missing. So all the trolls come to my page. I love it. I don't care. I welcome trolls. I'd rather you attack me than attack the Proudfoots
or Seth or Tony. I'm starting to learn these names. I'm getting acquainted now with the case, and we've been studying it for about a week. I told the team that if we get involved in this, and Dog had said the same thing, he said that a case like this could become a life, right? It could become our life. When we take a case, we do not stop. We just don't stop until the person is captured. In this, we're not searching to capture somebody. We've got a little kid. Gosh, I got a little pimple there. We've got to speculate that he is not alive.
I don't know why we have to speculate that he's not alive.
Until I know a lot more, because right now, anybody that speculates that, you guys are, shame on you. I don't know if you know who Jamie Kloss is. Look it up, because I was in Wisconsin for that. I was there the night they found her. I was there when she vanished, and she vanished in October. She broke free in January. So very possible that he's alive. Very possible that he's not. The thing is, YouTube is not the place to make that assumption. Yeah, you have opinions. That's amazing. But there's a line. There is a missing boy named Sebastian Rogers. I don't want to hear the name Seth again. I don't want to hear Katie again. Until there is something to name them for. I don't want to hear about them. I want to hear about Sebastian. I want to hear about where they're looking. I want to hear about what they've done. I want to hear about whose homes they've searched.
I mean, I can't blame him there. Everybody does need to talk about Sebastian more in the parents list. Although I don't think personally that any of them had anything to do with this. When you hear on Smiley Stories, I've lost my notebook. I've got a bookshelf that has a bunch of those notebooks on it that are exactly the same that are written in. And I have one that my rabbit ate the cover of. And that's the one that sucks for him, because Katie has clearly moved on and does not feel the same way. But at the end of the day, Sebastian was his whole entire world, his reason for getting up and breathing. He even said, Chris said that he helped him get the job at the damn sheriff's department or the corrections office, the jail that he works at. And I'm sure it was so he could provide a better life for Sebastian, so he could see Sebastian more, so he could have Sebastian more. I'm sure that's how that conversation
looking on my phone to see if I can
try to
find
get
it
the
real
job as a
quick
correctional officer.
while we listen to
Sebastian
this. I know
is
it's
this
in
man's
here.
reason for breathing. Okay, and he is missing. Seth is not going to stop. Seth is not going to stop. And if it's years from now, Seth's still going to be out there looking every single day. I can guarantee it.
Because let me tell you, of course it's possible that, and this is a theory, but this is just, again, this isn't one of those crazy opinionated where I'm going to do a 2-hour opinion on it. A theory would be, and I'll use another case, John Doe and Jane Doe are married. Their kid goes missing, right? You do not automatically, I mean, yeah, usually the parents are the first suspects, but that's for the police, not for you too. I understand that it's been 7 months. And honestly, guys, had you not done what you have done in the past 7 months, right now would have been a great time to start that, right? Because you could have been quiet for 7 months. And now we would probably all be in it together saying, what the F is going on? You guys need to speak. You guys need to speak. You guys.
If we or the online community had been quiet for 7 months, nobody would be picking up this case, including yourself, Mr. Hat, because you're not looking into Elijah Vu, are you? You probably don't even know who that is. Go through the list of children in the video I played, and that's even an old one. I got to make a new one at the beginning of this stream.
Dead in a ditch. If the parents agree, yeah, we will obviously figure out if there is a method. That's why we have lawyers, right?
Okay, hold on.
I was a reporter for another company that's not in charge of a damn thing when it comes to stuff like this. Now, obviously, my career path changed a lot, but I'm going to stay on YouTube too, and X and Facebook, because in situations like this, when we are involved, whether it's a news story or whether it's an actual manhunt, public information is becoming a problem in all of those situations, right? It's misleading the public. They're getting tips in areas that, guys, you guys are some of the craziest tips. I understand that I always say that small information is great information, but I do not mean go on YouTube, watch 13 videos, take what you see on that, put them together, compile a list, and think of a scenario that might have happened. Like maybe aliens abducted the kid, you idiot. Let's stay real, okay? All we know, Sebastian Rogers vanished between February 25th and the morning of February 26th. That's what we know. And if you know something more, and it's a fact, I'd call the police, right? I wouldn't be live on YouTube saying, hey, I found this. No, again, guys, I'm not trying to slam anybody independently, but we are going to set this record straight rather quick. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me. I'm not here for any of you, the haters or whatever the hell you guys are called, the trolls. I don't care. I'd rather them come at me. You guys have at it. The people that are coming at us for the truth serum. There's a missing boy who might be lying dead in a ditch. If the parents agree, yeah, we will obviously figure out if there is a method. That's why we have lawyers, right? We have lawyers. So the lawyers will call, for example, the University of Pennsylvania Hospital, right? A very great hospital where people go when they're dying, right? So they have the capabilities to.
I really want to hear this because this is something I need to speak on about this right here. I'm going to back it up a little bit and play it over again. This is important.
It's a fact. I'd call the police, right? I wouldn't be live on YouTube saying, hey, I found this. No, again, guys, I'm not trying to slam anybody independently, but we are going to set this record straight rather quick. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me. I'm not here for any of you, the haters or whatever the hell you guys are called. all the trolls. I don't care. I'd rather them come at me. You guys have at it. The people that are coming at us for the truth serum. There's a missing boy who might be lying dead in a ditch. If the parents agree, yeah, we will obviously figure out if there is a method. That's why we have lawyers, right? We have not one, lawyers. So the lawyers will call, for example, the University of Pennsylvania Hospital, right? A very great hospital where people go when they're dying, right? So they have the capabilities to do stuff if they are able. And with the right consent forms, you can do whatever the hell you want. So whoever these people are that are reading this, like, oh my God, they hired this, the right, where are the rights? Where's Sebastian's rights at? What, because he might be dead, he doesn't have any, or because he might be...
Okay, about this truth serum shit, okay, first of all, somebody's going to have to sign a consent form for you to administer true serum to them, okay? And if they really have Sebastian and are hiding him somewhere, they are not going to sign a consent form, okay? You would get sued so quickly. It's not even funny. They are going to take you for everything you got. Now, with that being said, with him saying, if the parents agree and sign consent forms, this makes me think that they're going to try to strike up a reality TV show or something. I'll tell you, there used to be like
this was my thoughts on it a month ago, and I still feel the same, that this is my speculations, thoughts, and opinions, and that's all. These are all alleged and in my opinion. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
A towing company. There used to be a tow truck company that would get played on YouTube. I actually personally knew some people that own that business, but it was all fake. Like, you can watch where, they'll roll up on a repossession and get in a fight. Okay. When you go on a repossession, yes, sometimes it can get crazy. Sometimes people would pull out a gun, okay, or shoot at you or try to fight you or whatever. But the odds of that happening are like 1 in like 150. Most of the time, people would just hand their car over politely.
I don't know.
Them, you can pay what you're behind and come pick it back up, and you would have to pay that and your tow fee. It was all fake. Like, you can watch where trying to find Sebastian Rogers. It's because they're making a TV show out of it.
In my opinion,
concerns me. Dog the Bounty Hunter's getting involved, and this guy's getting involved. And you're talking about administering truth serum to spark up a conversation, to get everybody talking like we are. And you're going to have them, okay, you're going to find somebody you think has Sebastian Rogers and say, okay, now I need you to sign this consent form giving me consent to give you truth serum so I can find out if you're lying or not. I need you to sign it. Just sign right here. And you think that person's going to just sign it? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? For real? Like, my children aren't even that stupid. What?
I don't mean my children were stupid. I was just saying somebody under the age of being an adult would
be being held in a basement. He doesn't have any.
I want to say my children aren't even that stupid. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean naive. Naive would have been a better word. Like, if you walked up to my child and said, I need you to sign a consent form so I can ground you for a week, okay? They're going to say, no, I'd rather not. Thanks, but no thanks. And that's exactly what you're going to get told with this truth serum stuff. And then if you tie them down or something to that effect, you're going to get your pants sued off. Them looking like designer sunglasses, you ain't going to be wearing them no more, buddy. You're going to have to sell them.
All right. That's just my thoughts, opinions, and speculations on that. Okay. So that happened. And then after that, the internet started talking about, who's guilty, who's not guilty. People said things about Chris and Katie. People said things about Seth. There's been thumbnails. There's been horrible accusations flung at the parents of these missing children. Okay. So then, I think it was Friday or either Monday. No, it was Friday. I'm pulling up my documents on the RICO case. I'm going to read to you what was filed Monday. Let me get it pulled up where you guys can see it. I'll read to you what I've got so you can kind of get an idea from like what was filed. Okay. So we'll start on what was filed Monday. And then we will go to what SF filed in rebuttal to it. Okay. So basically, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, which is his spokesperson, Bullhorn Betty, some other people on TikTok, Brittany J, not sure who else, basically filed an injunction saying that Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady from TikTok are being told not to, I don't know, like to not diminish the parents anymore. And they're being asked to pay attorney fees. Everybody says they're not being sued for money. Well, from what it sounds like, this is an expensive lawyer, and they're being sued to have to pay for the lawyer. So that's going to be probably like, you know, several $1,000s. So this is what I've got redacted a bit so far. We'll start here and then we'll read what SF said basically in response. So this is a complaint for injunctive and other equitable relief from the parties. At Night Media, LLC is a Pennsylvania limited liability company with its principal place of business at One World Trade Center, floor 85, New York, New York, and is in the process of relocating. The plaintiff, Dog the Bounty Hunter, and in his professional capacity as a bounty hunter and public figure that lives at, these are all the plaintiffs: Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Hong, which is Nick the Hat's friend. I don't know who that was. That's number 6 is probably Bullhorn Betty. Brittany, Nick the Hat, Julia the dog handler. No, I don't know who 8 is. I think that's that girl from TikTok is number 8. Number 9 is Julia the dog handler. Number 10 is Nick the Hat. Number 11, I don't know, probably Tony Mathis. I can't remember because I've been through so many of these. So basically just tells us the defendants. Number 2 is going to be facts, the background. Plaintiffs are engaged in the urgent. Now, this is from the perspective of Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, BHB, Brittany, all of them, Bullhorn Betty, and all of that. This is what they're saying, and this is the first injunctive file, the injunction filed against Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady. So we're starting at the beginning, and then we're gonna go through what I have. I have the first 25 pages, and then we'll go to what SF Investigates basically said in response. Plaintiffs are engaged in the urgent and sensitive task of locating Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, a 15-year-old missing child last seen on February 25th, 2024 in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Despite extensive efforts, Sebastian remains missing, necessitating a coordinated and uninterrupted search. The search for Sebastian Rogers has proven far more difficult than a typical missing teenager investigation, as a few ill-intentioned individuals have sought to cast Mr. Rogers as a villain. First of all, I want to know like how it's proven far more difficult, because like there's teenagers out there that still haven't been found and have been gone for 80 years, 60 years, 30 years, 10 years, 5. I mean, pick a number. Like, why is this one more difficult, proven far more difficult than a typical missing teenager investigation? I don't understand that. Number 15. Meanwhile, others have conducted Salem witch trial-like panels aimed at intimidating potential witnesses or discouraging those who may have useful information from coming forward. Some of these individuals uncomfortably close to Mr. Rogers include his ex-wife, Katie Proudfoot, and her husband, Christopher Proudfoot. Others are so-called content creators whose sole aim seems to be inviting, inciting, instructing, and destroying the lives of anyone who dares to search for answers or help locate the missing teenagers. As set forth below, defendants have engaged in reckless and unlawful actions, including the dissemination of false information, harassment, threats, interference, which have severely disrupted search operations. Defendants' actions have caused significant harm, diverted critical resources, and impeded plaintiffs' lawful efforts to locate Sebastian. Okay, hold on. Let me go to the next one. I think it goes to this one next. Okay, timeline. Starting at 18, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, 15, was last seen with his biological mother, Katie Proudfoot, at a Texas roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee on February 25, 2024. A true and correct copy of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's official updates page is attached hereto as Exhibit 1, which outlines the latest information about this case to date and is incorporated by reference herein. After leaving the restaurant, Sebastian disappeared, effectively vanishing without a trace. Excuse me. Hello, everybody coming in. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Trixie, I'm with you on that. Enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Okay. After leaving the restaurant, Sebastian disappeared without a trace. He was reported missing the next morning, prompting a multi-state search involving local, state, and federal law enforcement. On March 21st, 2024, Mr. Rogers organized the search of Natchez Trace State Park, located 100 miles from Sumner County, after receiving a tip suggesting the family search that area. Unfortunately, nothing was found. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached hereto as Exhibit 2 and incorporated by reference herein. Okay, first of all, let me just point out some facts, since that's what we're talking about in this filing. Okay, so they ate February 25th. He disappeared February 26th. On March 21st, a month later, Mr. Rogers organized a search of Natchez Trace State Park. This is when JLR accompanied him, and they got it on camera, and it says they received a tip. They did not receive a tip. What happened was Seth Rogers said, hey, if you have Sebastian, this park is here. It's a big area and there's no cameras. So if you could please drop him off there and I will pick him up. And that's why they went there. Nonsense pointed that out. Okay, back to the article. On March 23rd, Mr. Rogers felt a glimmer of hope when the United Cajun Navy deployed a team to assist in the search for the missing teenager. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached hereto as Exhibit 3 and incorporated by reference herein. However, as the days went on and the situation grew more challenging, Mr. Rogers made a public plea for help, reporting that threats, intimidation, and other questionable tactics were being used to disrupt search efforts. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached hereto as Exhibit 4 and incorporated by reference herein. You can find this on the internet, but I have went through and redacted everything. That's why I'm reading it right now, and I've only got the first 25 pages done. Number 23, the nightmare worsened on March 29th when the United Cajun Navy withdrew from the search, citing death threats and interference from a handful of quote, a handful of mentally ill people with too much free time, emboldened by online keyboard warriors. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached hereto as Exhibit 5 and incorporated by reference herein. Number 24, on August 2nd, 2024, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation spokesperson Susan cautioned the public during a press conference that misinformation could damage the investigation into Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached hereto as Exhibit 6 and incorporated by reference herein. On October 16th, 2024, 50 days after Sebastian Rogers' disappearance, Mr. Rogers initiated a petition on change.org calling for a criminal investigation by the FBI. A true and correct copy of the change.org page, which as of today has garnered 19,472 signatures, is attached hereto as Exhibit 7 and incorporated by reference herein. The petition reads, yeah, there is a 501c3 out there that Seth made. Okay. Trixie says there is a 501c3 out there that Seth made. People are wondering if he told Sumner County that he has it, as it has to be disclosed for a job with the county, which is considered government. I didn't know that, but yeah, it's called Rogers Farm or something like that. I saw that today on Nonsense. Okay, so the petition reads, we want the FBI to take over the investigation of the case of missing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. It has been 50 days since Sebastian has gone missing. No scent trail from dogs. That's could be accurate, might not be accurate. No video footage of Sebastian leaving his mother's house, yet no criminal investigation at all by TBI or Sumner County Sheriff's Office. On or about April 17th, 2024, Mr. Rogers hired 2 licensed investigators, Chloe and the other lady, that were on web sleuths to assist with the search. Unbeknownst to him at the time, at least one of them had connections to the enterprise. They're calling basically YouTube creators an enterprise. A true and correct copy of the news report is attached here to as Exhibit 8 and incorporated by reference herein. On or about April 23rd, 2024, Mr. Rogers retained a private investigator to assist in the search for his missing son, Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of the news article is attached here to as Exhibit 9 and incorporated by reference herein. Around that time, Mr. Rogers began a relationship with that girl, Michaela, who, based on information and belief, was sent to Mr. Rogers with the ulterior motive of using SMEX as a manipulation tool, similar to tactics employed by intelligence agents without any legal authority. During the course of the relationship, she covertly emailed herself confidential files related to Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of the sworn declaration of Seth Rogers, father of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, is attached hereto as Exhibit 10 and incorporated by reference herein. See Exhibit 10. On May 1st, 2024, Mr. Rogers retained Tony on a pro bono basis to assist with media requests, allowing him the space to mourn and continue searching for his son Sebastian Rogers with peace of mind. A true and correct copy of the sworn declaration of Tony attached hereto as Exhibit 11, incorporated by reference herein. On May 20th, as the search for missing teen Sebastian Rogers approached the 3-month mark, his father, Mr. Rogers, called for renewed efforts and urged the FBI to take over the investigation, seeking a fresh perspective on his son's case. A true and correct copy of the article titled Sebastian Rogers' Father, and I got to look at the next one. Michaela doing that, let me just state that is sick and horrific, and that's a horrible thing that happened to him, and I'm sorry that happened to him. But I mean, you just need to be careful of who you're around. I don't know why somebody would sleep with somebody just to get files on that. Like what? But that's beside the point. But I mean, I think that's more of a just be careful who you associate with instead of somebody being sent specifically there. I need to look up brain rot version. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You can use Google, like Eek, if you want to, love. Go back and play the live and then search up words you don't understand on Google. That would be my advice. That's what I do. Okay. So it said that Seth basically called on FBI to take over the investigation. Is attached here to as Exhibit 12 and incorporated by reference herein. On May 27th, Mr. Rogers planned 3 additional searches to further the effort to locate his son. A true and correct copy of the news report is attached as Exhibit 13 and incorporated by reference herein. In an emotional interview on June 19, 2024, with News Nation's Ashley Banfield, Mr. Rogers stated, "There has been no contact between me and the Proudfoots. It's like I'm the only one that misses my son." A true and correct copy of this interview is attached hereto as Exhibit 14 and incorporated by reference herein. Let me pause and state that I'm sure there's a reason that they don't have contact with him, and it doesn't necessarily have to be because they are guilty of anything. It doesn't sound like they talked to him much to begin with, and they kind of just dealt with him because he was the father of Sebastian. Like, I don't think they had that much of a cordial relationship beforehand anyway. Back to number 33. On July 11th, WKRN Nashville reported on a search being conducted by Mr. Rogers, during which he stated that he is not sharing a lot about the search due to worry over continued harassment. A true and correct copy of this report is attached hereto as Exhibit 15 and incorporated by reference herein. On August 7th, Kate and Christopher Proudfoot pursued a legal action by filing a protective order against plaintiff Bullhorn Betty. A true correct copy of this filing is attached as Exhibit 16. On August 21st, At Night Media was engaged by a private client of the plaintiff with an address in Tennessee to assist in the search for Sebastian Rogers. Just by the way, the filing that happened with Bullhorn Betty was a protective order because people felt like she was following them and they felt their safety was in danger because she mentioned getting a machete and a pew-pew. And if a judge signed it and gave them the restraining order, then there has to be evidence. There has to be a probable cause for the judge to sign it. Number one. Number two, if she had taken her ass to court, it might not would have been signed. I mean, she would have definitely had better terms if she'd have taken her ass to court, but she didn't. And that's just my opinion on that. Yeah, I see BHB serving time too, especially after this. Okay, so back to this, number 36. On August 26, 2024, the FBI announced a $50,000 reward for information on Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of the FBI missing persons poster for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, which showcases a $50,000 reward and indicates he is classified as a runaway, suggesting he is alive and not deceased, is attached hereto as Exhibit 17 and incorporated by reference herein. A true and correct copy of the original post from Nick the Hat on X, formerly Twitter, dated September 2nd, 2024, announcing the agency's intent to cover the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, is attached hereto as Exhibit 18 and incorporated by reference herein. On September 3rd, 2024, at approximately 11:17 a.m., Mr. Nick the Hat emailed Special Agent Simmons of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to begin coordination efforts involving Dog the Bounty Hunter at night and Mr. Rogers' interest in assisting with the search for Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of this correspondence is attached and is Exhibit 19. That same day, at night, entered into a letter of engagement with Mr. Rogers, the father of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. A true and correct copy of the engagement letter is attached herein as Exhibit 20. At night, intended to represent the entire family by reaching out to Chris and Katie Proudfoot, as well as Mr. Rogers. However, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot declined the services offered by At Night. And again, they have every right to. If they felt something fishy was going on, I don't blame them. Number 41. On September 4th, plaintiffs bolstered the FBI reward with an additional $50,000, raising the total to $100,000. A true and correct copy of the press release from At Night and One World Corporation is attached hereto as Exhibit 21 and incorporated by reference herein. At 3:31 p.m. that same day, plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter announced the increased reward on his social media platforms, capturing nationwide attention. A true and correct copy of this article from TMZ announcing Dog's involvement is attached hereto as Exhibit 22 and incorporated by reference herein. On or about September 5th, plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter joined by plaintiffs Mr. Rogers and Tony, appeared on News Nation with Ashley Banfield, declaring their belief that Sebastian was alive and would be found. A true and correct copy of the News Nation article is attached hereto as Exhibit 23. Let me read what y'all are saying. Yeah, Trixie says she harassed that family like all the others she has harassed. She really has, in my humble opinion, and by my speculation only. You can reference the case that we've been talking about, the Leilani Simon trial, if you want to know more about her, BHB. Trixie says Nick the Hat did a lot of YouTubing during the Donante Calvacante case, the inmate that escaped. But Nick the Hat is on parole and can't leave Pennsylvania, allegedly. Yeah, it's a lot of drama. Yeah. I remember Dog and his wife. Dog and his wife is a lot of drama too. Like, he immediately got remarried after Beth passed away. Everybody loved Beth. Okay, back to this. Number 44. On September 10th, 2024, At Night emailed the United States Justice IODSOIB Missing Child Unit to inquire a form USM 641, which activates the assistance of the United States Marshal Service. A true and correct copy of this correspondence is attached hereto as Exhibit 24, incorporated by reference herein. With the announcement came a resource director from the United States Marshal Services in Washington, D.C., provided the form to At Night, which was later sent to Agent Simmons of the TBI. On September 10th, 2024, plaintiff BHB appeared in court for allegedly violating a protective order issued by the Proudfoots. Okay, she absolutely did violate the protective order, because since she did not that was 518, show up to court, it was ordered that she could not even mention Sebastian Rogers' name. And she not only mentioned his name, but they also held a bike rally for him. And she was there holding a whole entire thing for him. And she wasn't even supposed to mention his name. So she absolutely did violate the order. Excuse me, I had to wet my whistle. Okay. Accusing her of... Dang it. Dang it. I just spilled my drink. Hold on just a minute. That sucks. All right. Accusing her of being a nuisance to their privacy. A true and correct copy of the relevant documentation is attached hereto as Exhibit 25 and incorporated by reference herein. On September 16th, defendant Nick the Hat received a cease and desist. No. Defendant somebody received a cease and a cease and desist letter addressing her defamatory conduct, which included numerous violations of federal law related criminal behavior. A true and correct copy of this letter is attached hereto as Exhibit 26. On September 17th, Judy, the lawyer on TikTok. Oh, okay. So this is saying that on September 16th, Judy, the lawyer from TikTok, received a letter. Yeah, I know. Like, I really didn't mean to. And it was my peach Red Bull, and I don't have any more. But I cleaned it up. Okay. Yeah, that T-Rev right up in all that drama. Yeah, exactly. And I was saying earlier or in another live that, like, if T-Rev really liked Michaela, he should have, like, given it a couple of months to cool down, because she really was with that man. And she really did do that, in my opinion. And that's real messed up. And it just, like, karma hit T-Rev instantly when that guy Smoke came out and released them phone calls. Like, it was instant karma for him for that Michaela situation, in my opinion. Back to this. On September 17th, 2024, Judy, the lawyer on TikTok, responded to the cease and desist demand on behalf of defendant somebody, stating at no time has her conduct extended to active influence. Did I skip some? Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I didn't skip any real quick. 518. I know this is the one I was just at. Let me see this real quick. I didn't get a chance to get these in order yet, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, that was at 46. Okay, so I didn't skip any. My bad. Hold on just a minute. So we're at 524. I was reading, it would be this one, I believe. Nope. It's this one. Okay. So, at no time has her conduct, this is Judy the lawyer again, extended to active interference in any legal or investigatory process. The demand that she ceases protected speech under guise of obstruction allegations is unfounded and without legal merit. A true and correct copy of this response is attached hereto as Exhibit 27 and incorporated by reference herein. Attorney Blank further asserts that Miss Defendant Blank is actively conducting her own search efforts with a dedicated team fully supported by the Proudfoot family. See Exhibit 27. This admission only strengthens the allegations made against the defendants in this case, as coordination with the Proudfoots is central to advancing their unlawful enterprise, with social media serving as their primary tool. So they're basically saying that YouTubers are using their social media accounts and panels and things like that as a weapon to run an enterprise. I'll tell you a story real quick. So let me see how many people are in here. Yeah, only 5. It's only my family members. So y'all know I've talked about I had a past. Well, when I decided to stop living that life and I got clean about 10 years ago, my ex called me about 2 months after I left and said that the police were going to charge him with running a criminal enterprise. And I said, what the fuck? What is going on with that? Well, what would happen was, if, like, when we were doing things, if we were sick, we would go around and see who wanted to, basically, like, we would pick up people and see who wanted to try to shoplift that day, because that's how we made money. And so because he was still doing that after I left, they said that it was basically a criminal enterprise, because he would go and call friends and see who wanted to, basically, quote unquote, work that day and try to make money. Okay, so technically that's running a criminal enterprise. So they're saying that they're basically running a criminal enterprise, because they're jumping panel to panel to panel to basically see, they're saying, kind of like, work this day by doing work like defaming or demoralizing Seth Rogers, and basically making it unlawful, or trying to stop them from searching for Sebastian Rogers. Hello, Overprotected. So that's basically what they're trying to say, which is stupid. Because just running, like, having a YouTube channel and going from panel to panel to panel is not running a criminal enterprise, in my humble opinion. Okay, so back to this. That same day, the undersigned served as a cease and desist to a man to demand Lord have mercy. That same day, the undersigned served a cease and desist demand to Cluminati as she continued to propagate hateful rhetoric. A true and correct copy of the cease and desist letter to Cluminati is attached here too, and incorporated by reference herein. On that same day, defendant blank used the cease and desist letter shown in Exhibit 27 to her advantage by leveraging this is Barbecue Lady, by leveraging it to solicit GoFundMe donations under the false pretense of being silenced from covering the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of the GoFundMe page created by Barbecue Lady on September 17, 2024 is attached here too as Exhibit 29 and incorporated by reference herein. That evening, the underdesigned replied to attorney blank letter reiterating the demand that her client cease and desist from the reckless behavior. A true and correct copy of the email to attorney blank from the underdesigned is attached here to as Exhibit 30. Shortly before 8 p.m. on September 17th, attorney blank mailed the undersigned writing, "I have never made a post or video of any kind on the Sebastian Rogers case, so I'm wondering if you actually watched any of the posts on the account linked in your email. I have never removed a post about it either. I have not commented at all, as I am a moderator for a different creator and agreed not to address the case at all since Tony's involvement. I have kept my word on that. A true and correct copy of this email is attached here too as Exhibit 31. However, this statement is demonstrably false. Attorney blank has 1. Advised defendant Barbecue Lady about raising funds as evidence in the following exchange. Defendant Barbecue Lady says at 000 whatever, or that might want to just donate to it. An attorney, attorney Judy, is a moderator on her page, basically, is what they're saying. And attorney Judy said, yeah, there's lurkers like me that are gonna be driving over to your GoFundMe campaign, so it's like, this is brilliant, thank you, this only helps. And 2, regularly participates in panels and discussions on the very channels being brought before this court. A true and correct copy of these interactions is attached here to as Exhibit 32, incorporated by reference herein. Between September 17th and September 20th, attorney Judy assisted defendant Barbecue Lady locating legal counsel to defend against this matter. She also continued to email the underdesigned, empathetically distancing herself from any direct involvement in harmful activities, including harassment, incitement of interference, or inappropriate remarks. She claims she did not participate in specific live streams, denies making public comments about Sebastian Rogers' case, and demands that defamatory oh my gosh, and demands that defamatory statements about her case. Good Lord in the morning. Yeah, barbecue lady. She's from TikTok. Eek. So it says that Attorney Judy routinely participates in the enterprise by representing various members, ensuring that victims are discouraged from seeking legal recourse through the courts. A true and correct copy of a photo showing blank on a panel with defendant blank. So basically, barbecue lady and her moderator, Judy the lawyer. Along with Enterprise members J. Doe's 1 through 5 is attached here to as Exhibit 32 and incorporated by reference herein. The individuals featured are Barton Norton, CI, Katie, Jill, Body Moving, and Character Analysis, all active on TikTok. During this specific live session, Attorney Blank participated in a panel that was doxing a victim, referred to here as Ocean. I don't know who Ocean is, but I know that's what it says. That was 524. So now we're at 548. Oceans. See, I told you. I don't know who Oceans is, but okay, Oceans, to prevent further exposure of her identity. During the live, it was stated that someone supplied them with info on Tony. On September 18th, On September 18th, insisted of accurately representing the nature of this legal communication. Defendant Blank Barbecue Lady engaged in a GoFundMe campaign to raise $25,000. Falsely claiming the funds were required for a federal attorney retainer to defend against litigation. Defendant Barbecue Lady publicly stated, "Yeah, I do have a GoFundMe for $25,000. I am retaining a federal attorney and the retainer is $25,000. A true correct copy." I lost my spot. A true correct copy of the 2-hour, 17-minute audio version of Defendant Barbecue Lady discussing this on a live stream is attached hereto and referenced herein as Exhibit 34. Excuse me. Despite these assertions, no lawsuit had been filed against Defendant Barbecue Lady as the date of her statements. Her false characterization of the case and the cease and desist letter as litigation was a deliberate attempt to deceive her audience into donating money under the pretense of impeding legal action. When pressed by her audience about the nature of her legal troubles, Defendant Barbecue Lady repeatedly implied that she could not disclose details due to ongoing litigations. "I can't discuss any of the details," was at 32 minutes and 7 seconds. "I'm trying to think of my verbiage because I know everybody's watching and like to twist my words." That was 3308 through 3319. These statements were made to create an aura of secrecy and urgency, misleading potential donors into believing Defendant Barbecue Lady was involved in active, significant legal proceedings, when in reality she had merely received a cease and desist letter, a non-litigation communication demanding that she stop defamatory conduct. Yep, she raised another $25,000 for an attorney, and then she got the attorney, is what Trixie says. Wow. I remember hearing that when she was on Queen Bee's, but I don't know anything about that. Like, I don't know anything about, I don't go on TikTok. Okay. 62. Defendant Barbecue Lady attempted to distance herself from the GoFundMe by claiming somebody made the GoFundMe on my behalf and wrote the whole thing, and it was witnessed with an attorney. See Exhibit 34. However, despite her admission, Defendant Barbecue Lady publicly promoted and benefited from the fundraiser, rendering her responsible for its fraudulent content. Defendant Barbecue Lady's misrepresentation of a cease and desist letter as active litigation constitutes both fraud and unjust enrichment as she solicited and received funds under false pretenses. That same morning, the undersigned received several concerning reports, including one stating that influencers on YouTube were claiming that my law firm was corrupt. This was being broadcast during a live stream with creators on the panel openly making these accusations. One of the creators even called my office. The channels identified were Cluminati's Cluminati, Granny's Watching, and Queen Bee. A true and correct copy of the email from the call service is attached here too as Exhibit 35 and incorporated by reference herein. Let me stop here. If you think that a law firm is corrupt, I mean, especially considering this case and all the crazy twists and turns that there has been, and you call the law firm to see if it is indeed legit, how is that? I don't understand what the problem is there. Like, it's a public business. So you made a phone call to a public business. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, yeah, see, and even Trixie says that the attorney said they could call. So I don't understand the problem. Like, and even if the attorney didn't say shit, it's a public business. You called a public business on a live stream. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, what does it all mean, Basil? The hell? Okay, back to this. Furthermore, I did not consent to having my calls to my office broadcast on social media, which demonstrates the extent to which these creators are willing to go. Again, let me just stop. It's not like you gave out personal private information. It wasn't attorney-client privilege because you didn't have a client. They were just calling to see if it was a law office. See, and then the attorney, Trixie says, the attorney even called Granny's Watching back and invited her to his office, which is gonna talk about what's next. Oh, blip boards is like where you have, instead of a billboard, it's like the computer ones that'll change every couple of seconds. That's what a blip board is, and they were raising money for that. Okay, so look, keep in mind what Trixie's saying. The attorney even called Granny's Watching back and invited her to his office. Okay, so back to this. Furthermore, I did not consent to having my calls to my office broadcast on social media, which demonstrates the extent to which these creators are willing to go. Additionally, I experienced a particularly troubling incident when Granny's Watching stated during a live stream that she was driving to Media, Pennsylvania, with the intent to visit my office. This was perceived as a threatening action. However, following a brief phone call with Granny's Watching and the underdesign, she subsequently decided to return home. And that's after he told her that she could come to his office. I hope she's got that on a live stream. I hope she's got that recorded, because that's going to throw out. He's signing this paperwork stating that he has not lied. This is all true and nothing is false. And if she can prove that indeed, like Trixie said, the attorney called Granny's Watching back and invited her to his office, then this is just null and void, the whole damn thing. I hope she's got it. Number 66. On September 19th, plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter, accompanied by counsel the Honorable, appeared live on Court TV during the morning show to discuss the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. During the interview, Mr. Castor made it clear. As more than a 3-decade law enforcement official myself in Pennsylvania, a former district attorney, a former attorney general, I understand the frustration local authorities must be feeling. From my own experience, I know that sometimes you need experts, like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Experts who are willing to give their time and energy to assist law enforcement in doing their job. I was stunned when I learned the facts of this case. A young boy is missing, and the mother and stepfather don't seem to be particularly distraught. I am sure that's something many people are questioning. What's also striking is the death threats and threats against safety that the search team, including the dog handlers, are receiving. This is unacceptable. We need to encourage people to step forward, whether they are donating money for a reward or volunteering their time. That's good citizenship, not something that to be punished. Yet some individuals are behaving in ways that, in my opinion, are not good conduct. The people involved in this case, the dog handlers, the team, and the entire crew are doing a tremendous job. If things worsen, I will recommend they take legal action because this situation has become totally unreasonable. The issue is that this is a mainstream case. It's not, we don't know what Chris and Katie are doing. We are not in their house. We are not there. We did not see. We do not know. We don't know how Katie is behaving. We don't know how we would, what is the written out way that you're supposed to act if your child's missing? Please point me in that direction where I can find a court file paperwork document that tells me exactly what I'm supposed to do if one of my babies goes missing. Because until you have that, you can't judge how somebody's acting. And I know what I know about my videos with Jennifer Soto, okay? But let me just state in that instance, you don't give immunity deals to somebody who's innocent, okay? Chris and Katie don't have an immunity deal. Jennifer Soto does. And we know what happened to Madeline Soto. We know what was going on in that case, so it's completely different, in my opinion. Chris and Katie were in the Navy. They seem like very private people. So I don't think they're going to broadcast what they do anyway. I don't think they ever would. That would have never been an option regardless. Let me get set back down real quick and I'll continue reading. Basil, you gonna let me sit down? You got to scoot your boot. Okay. Law enforcement and the community working together will solve this crime. Number 67. A true and correct copy of the court TV audio is attached hereto as Exhibit 36 and incorporated by reference herein. See Exhibit 36 at 632. Trixie, hold on. I'm gonna stop right here. Yeah, Basil's here. He's sitting beside me. I've only heard good things about Katie, says Trixie. She gives searchers feelers and things. She has gone out searching but doesn't call the news for photo ops. Yeah. I think that's exactly what's going on, in my humble opinion. I mean, just because we don't see them doesn't mean that we know what they're doing. You know, you don't see me take a shower, but I hope you know I do. And not everybody wants to be on the news and out there. Some people want to do things quietly, and that's okay. Let me get a sip of my drink. Okay. That same day, defendant Granny's watching. Okay, wait a minute. A true and correct copy of the court TV audio is attached hereto and as Exhibit 36 and incorporated by reference herein. That same day, defendant Granny's watching hosted a 2-hour and 42-minute live stream discussing the 17-minute interview with plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter and his counsel, Castor, during which, hey, shh, go to bed, baby. During which she disregarded the law and its protocols. A true and correct copy of the live stream is attached hereto as Exhibit 37 and incorporated by reference herein. While Mr. Castor and plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter were on national television advocating for the search of Sebastian Rogers, plaintiff Nick the Hat was summoned to Pennsylvania Department of Probation and Parole due to an alarming flood of false reports concerning his involvement in the case. These reports spiraled into outlandish allegations suggesting that Mr. Nick the Hat had made repeated contact with Christopher and Katie Proudfoot, and even more bizarrely, that he had traveled to Tennessee with Dog the Bounty Hunter in an attempt to kidnap individuals and inject them with truth serum. In an all in a supported effort to extract confession. Okay, let me read this again, because remember what we just looked at, okay, where he's talking about truth serums and things like that. We just referenced my previous live about that, and listen to this. Okay, these reports spiraled into outlandish allegations suggesting that Nick the Hat had made repeated contact with Christopher and Katie Proudfoot, and even more bizarrely, that he had traveled to Tennessee with Dog the Bounty Hunter in an attempt to kidnap individuals and inject them with truth serum, all in a supposed effort to extract confessions. This fantastical narrative, worthy of a conspiracy theory, prompted unwarranted actions by the authorities despite the absolute falsity of the claims. Okay. Yes, they did. We just went over a live. I can pull it back up if we need to. Do you remember seeing... Hold on. Let me do this real quick. because I just had it up. And he did state that they were going there. He said that that was at the hearing for Bullhorn Betty. He stated that they were going to go to Tennessee and that dog was going to be there. But it ended up like the day of, he said that it was going to be Dog and his associates. That's the day that Queen Bee was live to see if they saw Dog the Bounty Hunter, and that's the only time I've super chatted. And I super chatted and told her that they weren't going to be there, that they said it was going to be associates of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Trixie said no one said they went to Tennessee. It was proven they said they would go and do it. That's right. They did. They did say they were going to go to Tennessee and that they were going to do it. Hold on, let me pull up this live again. It's like way back. Because it's going to be right at the part because we just talked about it. Hold on a minute and I'll share it. And we can see where Mr. Nick the Hat actually said it. We'll review it real quick. Hold on just a minute. Okay, so this is my previous live, and
why doesn't he have any, right? That's not taking their rights. You have a...
Okay.
Ministering truth serum to spark up a conversation, to get everybody talking like we are. And
hold on a minute.
You're going to have them, because, okay.
All the trolls. I don't care. I'd rather them come at me. You guys have at it. The people that are coming at us for the truth serum. There's a missing boy who might be lying.
Right here, truth serum. He's talking about truth serum.
Dead in a ditch. If the parents agree, yeah, we will obviously figure out if there is a method. That's why we have lawyers, right? We have not one, lawyers. So the lawyers will call, for example, the University of Pennsylvania Hospital, right? A very great hospital where people go when they're dying, right? So they have the capabilities to do stuff if they are able. And with the right consent forms, you can do whatever the hell you want. So whoever these people are that are reading this, like, oh my God, they hired this, where are the rights? Where's Sebastian's rights at? What, because he might be dead, he doesn't have any, or because he might be...
Okay, about this truth serum shit, okay, first of all, somebody's going to have to sign a consent form.
Okay, we heard him talk about truth serum right there. He's talking about if the parents agree that they'll administer truth serum. So right there, it's not a fantastical narrative. It came out of his damn mouth just now. Let me get back to where we were at on the other one. Hold on just a minute. Okay. So we just heard that come out of his mouth, but in this paperwork, it's a fantastical narrative. Again, something I hope that they can use in court to help them out. Because right there, he's admitting it. Oh, hold on. I just made it full screen. Okay. Now. Okay, right here. All in a... Okay, let me read it just one more time. Okay. That he traveled to Tennessee with Dog the Bounty Hunter in an attempt to kidnap individuals and inject them with truth serum, all in a supposed effort to extract confessions. This fantastical narrative, worthy of a conspiracy theory, prompted unwarranted action by the authorities despite the absolute falsity of the claims. And we just saw him say it himself. Just say it. As a result of these unfounded reports, Mr. Hat was slapped with an extraordinarily restrictive and irrational conditions by the parole board. First, he was forbidden from working with any law enforcement agencies without explicit written permission from the parole board itself, with the orders stating emphatically, there are no exceptions. A true and correct copy of the order from Pennsylvania Parole Board barring plaintiff Nick the Hat from working with law enforcement is attached hereto as Exhibit 38 and incorporated by reference herein. The absurdity of this restriction is self-evident. Despite Mr. Hatt's role in assisting with the search for a missing child, he was effectively barred from collaborating with the very entities tasked with finding that child. Local law enforcement and federal agencies such as restriction, particularly in a high stakes situation like this, not only handicaps efforts to locate Sebastian, but also raises serious questions about the motivations behind the enforcement of these orders. So you're entering, let me just stop real quick. You're entering in basically a document to the court, to the law in the same state where you're talking shit about the parole board being extremely restrictive on this man and his efforts to supposedly find Sebastian Rogers. I think the parole board smelled a bunch of bullshit and was like, no, you're not getting involved in this. You're on parole. We're putting a stop to this shit before it even happens, in my humble opinion. Hi, Jen Absolute. Welcome. Welcome to the Speculating Family. It's nice to see you. Thank you for being here. We are reading the RICO Suave order. All right. Going to number 73 now. I've only got the first 25 pages of this done, and then I'm going to read the rebuttal. So we're on 17, and I think it goes to page 25 is what I've got done as far as redacted. And then we're going to read what SF said basically in response. Adding to the insanity, a second order was issued barring Mr. Hatt from contacting Christopher Proudfoot and his family in any form, directly or indirectly, via social media, phone calls, text, or even through third parties. The language of the order was as severe as the first. There are no exceptions. A true and correct copy of the order from the Pennsylvania Parole Board barring plaintiff Nick the Hat any contact with Christopher Proudfoot and his family is attached here too, as Exhibit 39 and incorporated for reference herein. Keep in mind that they're talking about the Pennsylvania Parole Board, and they're filing these papers in Pennsylvania. Just saying. And if I remember correctly, they called Chris like 3 or 4 times. So I'm sure Chris was like, "No, I didn't answer the first 4 times. Tell him to leave me alone." Like, there's a reason he didn't answer the phone. Jen, you're not late, honey. You're good. I just appreciate you being here, love. Number 774. As noted by plaintiff, somebody, what makes this all more ridiculous is the fact that there had been minimal contact between Nick the Hat and the Proudfoots. No more than 3 calls in total, and in an ironic twist, several of those calls had been initiated by Mr. Proudfoot himself. Okay, so let me just take back what I said. Please, again, I'm going to reference anybody that has walked in that's not part of our family to reference this bar right here down below. Everything I say is speculation and in my opinion. Thank you so much. Mr. Hatt now faces several more restrictions based on nothing more than a web of fabrication spun by individuals intent on diverting attention from the real search for Sebastian Rogers. A true and correct copy of the sworn declaration of Hong, managing partner of At Night, is attached here to as Exhibit 40 and incorporated by reference herein. The combination of these conditions, the ban on working with law enforcement and the restriction on contacting the Proudfoots, is nothing short of bizarre and raises serious concerns about the influence of malicious parties feeding into the narrative. These restrictions, based on fictitious reports, have only served to obstruct the search for a missing child and undermine legitimate efforts to bring justice to Sebastian Rogers. I don't think it's bizarre at all. Some people don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you. That's it. That's all. I mean, and they're asking for you not to contact them anymore. You won't leave them alone. They don't want to talk to you. Leave them alone. I mean, it's not hard, in my opinion. Oh, really? Jen, I'm sorry you weren't getting notifications. I'm glad that you resubbed and rejoined the Speculating Family, and I hope you had a good day, love. Okay, number 76. On September 20th, 2024, news networks reported that plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter At Night and Tony had issued a cease and desist demands to certain content creators. Plaintiff Tony, spokesperson for Mr. Rogers, emphasized the importance of that night's involvement, stating they bring a social media team, they bring an investigative team, and they bring a legal team. All those are things that we all desperately needed. In addition to Dogg's passion and the overall horsepower of his organization, the case has been amplified tenfold in just the last 2 weeks. A true and correct copy of the CBS 42 News article reporting this is attached hereto as Exhibit 41 and incorporated by reference herein. That same day, it was reported that plaintiffs at night and Dog the Bounty Hunter expressed their belief that they know who is responsible for the disappearance of Tennessee teen Sebastian Rogers and discussed their plans to... All right, let me go to the next email. This was 5:48. Okay, we're at the second 5:48. To assist in tracking down the 15-year-old with autism, a true and correct copy of this report is attached hereto as Exhibit 42 and incorporated by reference herein. However, that afternoon, co-counsel Castor notified the undersigned that a law firm of Graham and Butler, Pennsylvania, had entered their appearance on behalf of defendant blank. A true and correct copy of this notice is attached hereto as Exhibit 42 and incorporated by reference herein. On the same day, a law firm, Coulter and Graham LLP, entered their appearance for defendant blank. The attorney from TikTok sent an email that reveals a clear attempt to suppress further discussion about her involvement. In the email, the lawyer lady from TikTok that was a moderator for Barbecue Lady, that plaintiffs refrain from discussing her practice, or her clients on social media, citing serious missteps in their representations. A true and correct copy of the attorney lady from TikTok is incorporated by reference herein. The pattern has been evident in defendant lawyer lady from TikTok. No, in defendant Grant. I do believe it's Granny's Watching's previous conduct, and now the attorney from TikTok's own correspondence. No, it's Barbecue Lady's previous conduct, and the attorney lady from TikTok's own correspondence aligns with these methods, contributing to the enterprise's overall strategy of intimidation and legal maneuvering, noting, now that I have entrusted this matter to Mr. King, I will no longer need to receive copies of any correspondence or emails. I am confident he is more than capable of handling you and your clients. However, I respectfully request that your clients refrain from engaging in discussions or making comments on social media about me, my practice, or the clients I represent. They have already made several serious missteps and represented me in a fake light. Please caution them against discussing, responded to, or commenting on any aspect of my professional experience, education, law firm, or clients. I also strongly advise that you and your clients ensure that any future allegations are factually accurate, unlike the incorrect statements made in your previous emails. They should choose their words carefully and realize that if this continues, I will have no choice but to retain counsel as well. I mean, that seems like, not a horrible thing to ask. If she thinks that you're being inaccurate with your description of her, then yeah, she's going to say stop, or I'm going to get a lawyer. You would do the same, in my opinion. Number 81. In the broader context of this case, the enterprise's repeated attempts to use legal mechanisms to intimidate and silence plaintiffs, from cease and desist letters to direct legal threats, fit squarely within the framework of obstructive tactics aimed at impeding the investigation or intimidating individuals. Skirt, hit the brakes. Who's the one that's hitting people with cease and desist? Because the Proudfoot's hitting Bullhorn Betty with a restraining order is not the same thing as cease and desist. I think that's been sent out by the people represented in this paperwork, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but Trixie says, what's funny is they were saying Granny's and them are in an enterprise, but Granny didn't know barbecue until Nick stated it on Granny's. That's right. And if y'all haven't I don't talk to nonsense. I'm not gonna, but she has really put out some really important information, and she points out, the fact that they all talk about being on a team, and if you want to get accurate information about Seth, or see Seth and Tony, or be, or Nick, then you can go and visit what it's allegedly with Brittany J, or Lord, I don't even know his name. They call him Spanky. I think the lab guy, I'm not sure about him, and Mr. and Mrs. E. Like, those are the chosen ones, the group, the team, the speculated alleged enterprise. Just saying, using speculation here. There is no team or speculated enterprise that you could go to talk to the Proudfoots or get information on them. There's one person, but she's not part of a team effort, in my opinion. Anyway, just pointing that out. If you want more on that, go check out Nonsense. She's talked about it a lot. On September 30th, 2024, an individual identifying themselves as an FBI postal inspector wearing a badge attempted to question Uncle Taco's wife. She and her husband received constant threats and harassment online. A true and correct copy of the sworn declaration of something specifically referring to statute 2 through 6 is attached here too as Exhibit 45. On October 1st, 2024, Uncle Taco called the Oklahoma City branch of the FBI to report the incident involving the individual posing as an FBI postal inspector. A true and correct copy of the sworn declaration of Uncle Taco, specifically referring to, is attached hereto as Exhibit 46. On October 2nd, plaintiff at night issued a litigation hold via email to all contractors, personnel, representatives, social media moderators, public figures, clients, and other relevant parties associated with the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. The email instructed all recipients to preserve any materials that could be considered relevant to the case. A true and correct copy of this litigation hold email is attached hereto as Exhibit 47. On October 5th, 2024, at approximately 7:16 p.m., a white Chevy truck pulled into Plaintiff Hong's driveway, which is hidden from the road. A man exited the vehicle, leaving his door ajar, and began peering into the windows of the home. He knocked on the door. After noticing the security camera, quickly left. See Sworn Declaration of Hong, Exhibit 40. A true and correct copy of the video showing the truck arriving, showing the man walking to the door, showing a side angle video of the incident, and a copy of a still photo is attached. Okay, thank you. So Trixie says Nick and them sent out the cease and desist. Exactly. And Spanky is Justin from Clutch Them Pearls. Thank you. And Hey Sweet Tea. Thank you so much, Trixie. I don't watch him, and I don't know. I can't stand him. So I didn't know his name. I really appreciate that. Okay, so number 3. All of this, and we're only at number 3. Seth Rogers, defendant Granny's watching, repeatedly twists Mr. Rogers' words, portraying him as insecure, manipulative, and unfit as a parent. So again, this is going to basically state how Granny's watching, how they think that she's directly to be held accountable. So again, let me start again at number 86. Defendant Granny's watching repeatedly twists Mr. Rogers' words, portraying him as an insecure, manipulative, and unfit as a parent. This is not just a personal vendetta, but part of a larger coordinated attempt by the enterprise to discredit Mr. Rogers in the eyes of the public. The mocking and distorting of his own words serve the dual... Okay, hold on just a minute. That was 548. Now we're at 558. I might have went a little further than I thought. Purpose of undermining his credibility and inciting further harassment from defendant Granny's watching audience. Defendant Granny's watching mocks Mr. Rogers for stating, "I just want a divorce so I can start again," at
timestamp 19. Turning this into an opportunity to paint him as someone dismissive of his responsibilities, she sarcastically thanks him for, quote, being so nice during the divorce, at timestamp 32 through 39, encouraging her audience to view him as deceitful. A true and correct copy of the sped up 2x audio recording is attached hereto as Exhibit 52 and incorporated by reference herein. Let me just stop and say that, you know, at the end of the day, those are her opinions. Now, saying that he is a predator or saying that Sebastian is a predator, if she said that they are and did not say in my thoughts and my opinions, in my speculations, and didn't have it, you know, stated anywhere, if she stated it as fact, there could be an issue. Okay. But again, you go to YouTube and watch people on panel or watch their channel to get their thoughts, speculations, and opinions. So, you know, the fact that they talk to each other and have certain channels that they go on panel with doesn't mean that they're running a criminal enterprise. Jen says, I used to watch Justin, but when he started carrying on about another YouTuber being innocent, her over-the-top tactics and running off at the mouth to people who didn't support her, I quit watching. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I never really watched him, but I know who you're talking about, and I know he supports her. And like I heard that she calls her people stupid and things like that. So I don't know. I try not to. I don't know. It's crazy. Okay, at number 88. The distortion of Mr. Rogers' statements reflects a broader strategy of the enterprise, with defendants Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady coordinating efforts to undermine victims' credibility through mockery, manipulation, and defamation as tools of harassment. I do too, Jen. Defendant Granny's Watching persistent sarcasm goes beyond mere commentary. But does it really? Because, you know, it's commentary on her channel. Just, you know, asking for a friend. It is a tactic used to diminish Mr. Rogers' character and portray him as untrustworthy, echoing the sarcastic attacks frequently employed by defendant, Barbecue Lady, and Granny and other members of the enterprise, where sarcasm is weaponized to belittle and the audience is encouraged to join the public degradation. Oh, he's such a good guy. Thank you for being so nice during the divorce. Mocks Mr. Rogers' effort to present himself as responsible, twisting his words to imply hypocrisy. The use of sarcasm and ridicule aligns with the enterprise's broader strategy of public character assassination. Defendant Granny's Watching's mocking tone not only serves to discredit Rogers, but also to mobilize her followers to further participate in this coordinated defamation. Let me just say, Trixie says Granny's never said that, ever. In fact, she always said that she does not believe Seth had anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance. I've never heard her say that she believed that Seth was guilty of anything either. Jen says, I've never watched Granny's Watching or Barbecue Lady, so I don't know anything about them yet. I'll check them out. Okay, yeah. I don't know anything about Barbecue Lady. And I watch all the drama channels from the bushes. Like I see things wrong with all of the drama channels, but you know, there's, you know, things we're going to disagree with everybody. Trixie says it's funny because grannies will play their own words. It's funny. They call that twisting. Right. Nonsense does the same thing. She plays their own words. I know that, my big thing with me is, like, I used to watch Allegedly with Brittany J, but she's got no backbone, in my opinion. She'll just bend and do whatever is necessary to earn money, which, you know, again, if she's supporting her family on just her income, I can understand it, but it kind of sucks when you think you stand for one thing, like her not liking Bullhorn Betty, and then all of a sudden she's trying to take up money for her legal fund last night. I like Granny's Watching. I've never had any issue with Granny's Watching. I have had an issue with some of the things she said about Seth Rogers, but usually that's when Jay for Justice is on panel, as far as like the thumbnails and the relating him to Deputy Dog. That was my issue with her, but you know, it is what it is. And at the same time, when we're talking about
them attacking and things like that on their YouTube channels, you ought to see some of the things that that have been said about Chris and Katie on other channels, like the ones that are being supported, that they, have done something to him, that they've hit in the body, that their faces are red, that they've gained weight. Like, all of the things that you're listing here have also been said about the other side. And I'm just pointing that out. Allegedly, in my opinion. Okay. Right. Exactly, Trixie. I'm with you on that. Okay. So at number 92, defendant blank engages her audience in the harassment by promoting real-time reactions and contributions to the defamation of Mr. Rogers, mirroring defendant blank's tactic of encouraging public shaming and transforming private matters like custody and divorce into a public spectacle. If the papers are public, you can go over them. Number 93, defendant Granny's Watching invites her audience to engage in the narrative of Mr. Rogers' unfitness, creating an echo chamber of public judgment, saying, put a one in the line of in the chat if you've seen the divorce papers. Put a 2 if you did not. Again, I'm going to reference the other side saying that. That's said by a lot of people. Put a 1 in chat if you've seen this. Put a 2 if you haven't. And it's said about Chris and Katie as well, as far as papers, CPS, divorce, all of that. Just saying. Just putting that out there, allegedly speculating. The orchestration of audience participation in defamation exemplifies how the enterprise operates on a broader scale, with defendants Granny's Watching engagement mirroring defendant Barbecue Ladies engagement mirroring defendant Granny's Watching incitement of followers, making public humiliation central to the group's collective goal of silencing and discrediting their targets. Defendant Granny's Watching continually mocks Mr. Rogers' emotional struggles, particularly his trauma from the divorce, aligning it with the enterprise's broader tactics of dismissing mental health and personal issues as seen in the targeting of plaintiff Bullhorn Betty and others, thereby reinforcing the strategy of belittling victims' emotional distress. Defendant Granny's Watching dismisses Rogers' claims of trauma, sarcastically suggesting, get a therapist because it is years later, sir, and you're still not healed. That's her perception of what she sees, though. Allegedly, in my opinion. Making light of his emotional pain. See Exhibit 52. The mockery of trauma across multiple victims demonstrates a continuous and related pattern of behavior by enterprise, with defendant Granny's Watching consistent dismissal of mental health, aligning with defendant Barbecue Ladies similar treatment of plaintiffs, highlighting the orchestrated nature of the enterprise's psychological harassment. Defendants Granny's Watching or Barbecue Lady distorts the legal context of Mr. Rogers' custody and the divorce issues by falsely implying that he was deemed borderline abusive by the courts, a deliberate misrepresentation that aligns with defendant Granny's Watching similar tactics of distorting legal proceedings to mislead the public and discredit plaintiffs, illustrating how the enterprise manipulates legal narratives to harm their targets. Defendant Granny's Watching falsely claims Mr. Rogers states that the courts deemed him borderline abusive, when no such legal finding exists. The intentional misrepresentation serves to undermine Mr. Rogers' credibility and paints him in a negative light. The deliberate distortion of legal facts by defendant Granny's Watching is part of the broader enterprise strategy seen in defendant Barbecue Ladies campaigns. The use of false legal claims to discredit victims shows a coordinated effort to manipulate public perception and attack the representation of those who challenge the enterprise. Defendant Granny's Watching uses Mr. Rogers' divorce and custody battle as a key point of attack, twisting the narrative. Basil just thumped. To portray him as an unfit father or husband. This tactic of weaponizing personal legal matters is commonly employed by the enterprise, turning private family issues into public spectacles to discredit and humiliate. Defendant Granny's Watching has similarly exploited family disputes in her attacks on other plaintiffs, including a shared strategy within the enterprise. See Exhibit 52. 102. Defendant Granny's Watching mocks Mr. Rogers for allegedly seeking alimony and being a, quote, nice guy during the divorce, stating, "You asked for alimony, but you..." Okay, let me see what y'all are saying. And again, I mean, these are people's personal YouTube channels. Oh yeah, I still had quite a few, it looks like. So hold on just a minute. Okay. Yeah. Trixie says, I love Granny's Watching. Barbecue Lady, I don't know her outside of seeing her on 2 YouTube lives. I don't know much about Barbecue Lady either. Yeah, like Dolly's channel. Seth said that himself, though I was there and seen and heard him when he did. Really? Yeah, I think so. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And again, these papers are public. It's not hard to go pull the divorce papers and all of that. It's all public knowledge. So I mean, making it public, it's already public, just like this paper's public. And I was able to pull it because it's public. Just saying. Okay, so he's talking about how Granny's Watching, saying that you were so nice to ask for alimony, which, in my humble opinion and speculation, in my opinion only, just my opinion, I think it's weird when a man asks for alimony. Usually that's something you pay a woman, but that's just my humble opinion. Little old me over here in the corner of YouTube. Okay. So it says, we're so nice. This sarcastic remark is designed to, hold on just a minute. This sarcastic remark is designed to undermine Mr. Rogers' character by framing his actions as hypocritical. I mean, he's made himself look hypocritical, in my opinion. Defendant Barbecue Lady or Granny's Watching focus on Mr. Rogers' divorce aligns with defendant. Okay, so defendant Barbecue Lady's focus on Mr. Rogers' divorce aligns with defendant Granny's Watching broader strategy for using personal legal matters as a tool for defamation, reinforcing the organized and continuous nature of the enterprise's attacks. Defendant Granny's Watching often resorts to baseless speculation to further undermine Mr. Rogers' credibility by implying drug use, neglect, and irresponsibility. Defendant Granny's Watching encourages her audience to view Mr. Rogers as a flawed, untrustworthy figure. These speculative attacks mirror defendant Barbecue Lady's false accusations against other plaintiffs were unfounded allegations and presented as fact as a way to sway public opinion. Defendant Granny's Watching falsely implies that Mr. Rogers is hypocritical. Some of these are Barbecue Lady and some of them are Granny's Watchings, but I'm just saying Granny's Watching. I know this is her, or supposedly. So, defendant Granny's Watching falsely implies that Mr. Rogers is hypocritical regarding his stance on medication. She says, but you sure as fuck had no problem taking those pharmaceutical medications for yourself. Again, that's in reference because allegedly, supposedly, me just saying allegedly, he said that he didn't want Sebastian Rogers on ADHD medication and things like that. Now, I've stated before that my kids have ADHD and I don't have them on medicine, but at the same time, I don't take medicine either. I use natural herbs and natural remedies that are not pharmaceutical. I mean, there is a difference when you're taking pharmaceutical. Never mind, let me just stop. So, allegedly, she had said, but you sure as fuck had no problem taking those pharmaceutical medications for yourself. But we have to keep in mind that he said he didn't want Sebastian taking pharmaceuticals. So, that's why she said that. 106. The repetition of unfounded accusations across multiple plaintiffs demonstrates a pattern of defamation that is central to the enterprise's racketeering activities. Defendant Granny's Watching speculative attacks align with the broader strategy of spreading false narratives, revealing a clear connection to the continuous and organized efforts by defendant Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching to discredit their victims. Defendant Barbecue Lady or Granny's Watching does not merely mock and insult Mr. Rogers, she actively encourages her audience to join in, fostering a culture of public humiliation designed to amplify the emotional and psychological harm, mirroring defendant Barbecue Lady's tactic of mobilizing followers to intensify the impact on victims. Yep. Eek says, same girl. Jen says that she doesn't take it and her kids aren't on it either. I think that's the difference, honestly. You know, like I give my kids coffee in the morning because coffee calms people with ADHD down. And I do the same. I have ADHD. We drink coffee. I'm not taking stimulants, but I don't want that shit in my house at all whatsoever for my kids or for me. But again, if I don't want my kid, I'm not going to take something and have my kids take it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not going to have my kids take it, and I'm not going to take it either because I'm going to be the example. You know what I mean? That's just me though. Okay. Defendant Granny's Watching calls her, no, it's probably Barbecue Lady, calls on her followers to, quote, put out your declarations, pushing Mr. Rogers to expose more of his personal life to public scrutiny. This public demand is a form of intimidation and control, echoing defendant Granny's Watching similar efforts to humiliate other plaintiffs through the exposure of personal information. I don't think they've doxed anybody. 109. The coordinated effort to publicly humiliate victims shows a continuous pattern of racketeering activity, as defendant Sangs or Barbecue Lady's role in encouraging her audience to participate in the harassment and demonstrates the enterprise's use of public platforms to amplify harm and silence opposition. Defendant Granny's Watching harassment of Mr. Rogers is intricately linked to the broader effects of the enterprise led by defendant Barbecue Ladies and Associates. Defendants Barbecue Ladies' mockery, manipulation, false accusation, and incitement of her audience are all part of a coordinated strategy to discredit and defame Mr. Rogers, aligning with the larger pattern of racketeering activity in this case. Yep. Exactly. Granny's Watching never forced his hand to expose anything. That's right. Yeah, they are hella not good and addictive. They really are. She never told him to expose anything. He did that by himself on Pascal, and he stated it was because Chris was saying that he was going to tell everybody why he didn't want Sebastian around Faith. And so Seth Rogers did it basically so Chris Proudfoot couldn't hold it over his head anymore. Now, I have heard Chris Proudfoot threaten to say why he didn't want Sebastian around Faith. What Seth Rogers did and with that information and you know, that's on him. But he did state it. And when you put something like that out here, you know, people are going to take it, they're going to run with it, and they're going to give their thoughts and opinions on it. That's what people do on YouTube. So, again, you put that information out here, not her. In my humble opinion, speculation, allegedly, all of the things. Whew, okay. Now, Tony Mathis. Defendant, I think it's Barbecue Lady, frequently discusses her access to resources, referring to it as a chain of command. She bragged, I forgot the name of it, but it's like the domino effect. The person who originally took the video leaked the video and sent it to somebody. Then somebody sent it to somebody else, basically like the telephone game. A true and correct copy of the audio version of defendant Barbecue Lady discussing this on a live stream is attached here too and referenced herein as Exhibit 53. The domino effect described by defendant Barbecue Lady demonstrates a pattern of racketeering activity under the RICO Act. Coordinated sharing and distribution of the video indicates a conspiracy to engage in continuous and organized criminal conduct. Each act of sharing the video constitutes an overt act of conspiracy in violation of both RICO and Pennsylvania criminal conspiracy statutes. Defendant, I think it's Barbecue Lady, asserted, yeah, well, kind of, but there's a legal term for it actually, and every single fucking person that shared that video of Caleb can all be fucking prosecuted. Okay, so what she's talking about is there was a video supposedly of Caleb Harris after he was deceased, and supposedly, allegedly, Tony Mathis shared it, but Tony Mathis says that he didn't share it. Allegedly speculating, that's what I've heard on the YouTube streets. And that's what she's talking about. Defendant Barbecue Lady basically said, yeah, well, kind of, but there's a legal term actually for it, and every single fucking person that shared the video, Caleb, can all be fucking prosecuted. Defendant's Barbecue Lady's acknowledgement that every single person that shared that video of Caleb can all be fucking prosecuted demonstrates her awareness of the illegality of the enterprise's conduct. Her statement indicates active involvement in a criminal conspiracy to commit harassment and defamation in violation of Pennsylvania criminal conspiracy laws and RICO's conspiracy convictions. Each participant in this chain of distribution is a conspirator furthering the enterprise unlawful objectives, exposing them to criminal liability. In the same live stream, defendant Barbecue Lady declared, and you know what? It's my fucking mission. And it's been my little undercover mission. I know you guys are probably wondering where we're at, but we are up to something. See Exhibit 63. Defendant Barbecue Lady's statement about an undercover mission to target individuals within the context of sharing harmful content demonstrates a premeditated conspiracy. It's hard to prove a conspiracy. This was 604. Okay. The next one is 623. This satisfies the elements of racketeering activity under RICO and criminal conspiracy under Pennsylvania law. Under Pennsylvania law, criminal conspiracy is established when two or more individuals agree to engage in unlawful conduct with at least one overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. The overt acts in this case involve the deliberate dissemination of harmful content which violates multiple provisions of Pennsylvania law, including harassment and defamation. Additionally, defendant Barbecue Lady's statement reflects a calculated, organized effort to harm others, demonstrating the continuity and structure required for establishing a pattern of racketeering activity. This aligns with Pennsylvania's broad definition of conspiracy, where intent and action to promote or facilitate illegal conduct suffice for prosecution. Furthermore, each participant in the dissemination of harmful content is implicated as an active conspirator in furtherance of the criminal enterprise, exposing them to substantial criminal liability under both federal and state law. Keep in mind, this is state level, not federal. Just put that out there. Defendant, Barbecue Lady, and her panelists continued, okay, we're not avoiding being on TikTok because we're afraid or scared. We've been working. And all I'm going to say is if anyone thinks they're going to fuck with us, I fucking dare you. Defendant Barbecue Lady, covert threat, I fucking dare you, constitutes intimidation and extortion under federal law and Pennsylvania's extortion statutes. Yep, Trixie says Tony shared it, allegedly, in our opinion. This is ridiculous. Everything Nick, Tony, Seth, BJ, BHB has done, they are blaming it all on other people. That's the thing for me. You ought to watch her live from last night. I kept saying, I was screaming again. I was like, but that's what you did. But that's what you did. But that's what you did. Like the self, they can't, they're not picking up. Like it's insane to hear them talk and not realize that it's the exact same thing they did. It's absolutely insane. Makes me hope this goes to court. Their old words will be their undoing, like what happened with BHB. Yep, and I think that's exactly why SF Investigates filed what he filed, and his was only 9 pages, and I feel like his is better put together than this, if that makes any sense, because all this is hearsay. I mean, there's evidence, there's live streams and things, but that's like people creating stuff on YouTube. I feel like SF Investigates is better put together, and we'll read that after I read through what I've got redacted of this. I had more than I thought. I didn't realize I had this much of it done. I'll try to get the rest of it done if this is what y'all like, and maybe we can talk about this tomorrow night, because in the morning we got to do the court cases from today. Okay, so the overt acts in this case involve the deliberate dissemination of harmful content which violates multiple... Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Sorry. I fucking dare you. Yep, we read all this page. Extortion into Pennsylvania involves using threats of harm to coerce behavior, and her statement is designed to intimidate and deter opposition to the enterprise's activities through threats of retaliation. This conduct, reflective of organized criminal behavior, aims to prevent interference or exposure, thereby advancing the enterprise's unlawful goals. In a live stream, defendant Granny's Watching or Barbecue Lady, I'm assuming Barbecue Lady, declared, "Fucking dare you. I dare you. This shit right here, though. These foul fucking human beings, birds of a feather flock together." The continuation of intimidation tactics in defendant, I don't know if it's Barbecue Lady or Granny's Watching's language, coupled with derogatory remarks, highlights a clear pattern of harassment in violation of 18 Pennsylvania Constitutional Statute 2709. Her repeated threats, "I dare you," aim to intimidate and coerce others into compliance or silence, punishable under Pennsylvania's criminal harassment statutes, and also form part of a broader criminal conspiracy within the enterprise. Let me state something real quick before I go to 131. Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth state, and they make their own laws. And I question, they make their own laws, but their laws are different than like the broader laws that go over the whole United States. Like if you're in a Commonwealth state, they're a little bit different. For instance, I know one Commonwealth state that somebody stole a TV from Walmart and went to prison for 3 years. Whereas you probably would not go to prison for 3 years in a state that's not a Commonwealth state, if that makes sense. And I'm wondering if that's why they filed it here. There might be some things that are listed in here that are like right here. Her repeated threats, "I dare you," aim to intimidate, coerce, and others into compliance or silence, punishable under Pennsylvania's criminal harassment statutes. So I question that Pennsylvania's criminal harassment statutes, are they different because Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth state? Would the statutes be different in a state that was not a Commonwealth state? And if so, did they use that to their advantage and file in Pennsylvania? Is that why it started in Pennsylvania? That's just a thought process that I'm having right now. Okay, 131. Defendant Barbecue Lady stated, "It is my fucking mission to take Tony the fuck down. So however that looks for you, or whatever you want to imagine in your God-given brain, whatever. When I say take them down, I mean he should not be a fucking spokesperson for anybody's missing child, in my opinion." She stated, "In my opinion," just saying. That's Exhibit 53. This statement demonstrates defendant Barbecue Lady's intent to cause significant harm to Mr. Mathis, through a coordinated campaign of harassment and defamation, further supporting a criminal conspiracy and racketeering activity under RICO. Her admission of yeah, I know Nick's from Pennsylvania. Jen, that's true as well, and that's probably why they filed there. More than likely, that's the reason why they filed there. I just wonder if the fact that it's a Commonwealth has something to do with it. Trixie says they filed because Nick, Barbecue Lady, and Granny's are all in Pennsylvania, right? But like, I know there's more people that are included in it. So why did they start in Pennsylvania? Was it like just because Nick lived there, or is there more to it? You know what I mean? Or just because those 3 people lived there and it was like logically the place to start because that's where Nick lives. But why not like Tennessee where Seth lives, or Oklahoma in the state that Tony lives in, you know? That was kind of like, but you know, it's probably because Nick and them live there. I don't know. Back to this. My mission to take Tony down reflects the calculated and unlawful objective of the enterprise to discredit and harm through intimidation and defamation. Under Pennsylvania law, fraud occurs when a party knowingly makes false representations with the intent to induce others to act. Defendant Barbecue Lady public solicitation of funds based on the false claim that she needed $25,000 to retain a federal attorney for ongoing litigation constitutes fraudulent misrepresentation. Despite receiving only a cease and desist letter, which does not constitute litigation, defendant Barbecue Lady knowingly implied that she was under legal threat to justify her fundraising campaign. Defendant Barbecue Lady's actions constitute unjust enrichment by collecting funds under the false premise of a non-existent lawsuit, misrepresenting the case and this cease and desist letter, and fabricating a false narrative to unjustly gain financial support from her audience. Defendant Barbecue Lady's deliberate misrepresentation of a cease and desist letter as ongoing litigation in her fundraising campaign constitutes fraud, demonstrating a pattern of deceit and an attempt to unjustly enrich herself by misleading her audience. The court should enjoin defendant Barbecue Lady from continuing to solicit funds under the false pretenses and order the return of all funds raised through the fraudulent campaign. Excuse me. Now we are at allegedly with Brittany J. Brittany, in multiple live broadcasts on YouTube, defendant Granny's Watching engaged in a coordinated effort to defame, harass, and intimidate plaintiff Brittany, aka Brittany J, as part of a broader coordinated attack with her associates. These statements are not isolated incidents, but rather form a sustained campaign of... Hold on just a minute. That one was 6:23. We got 6:30. Targeted harassment, threats, and defamation violating both Pennsylvania and federal laws, fitting into a pattern of conduct that constitutes part of a corrupt enterprise as defined under Statute 18911, Corrupt Organizations Act, and the RICO Act. In her live stream, defendant Granny's Watching directly threatened Brittany J, stating, "I will make you a fucking victim. You want to go legal? I will give you a reason to go legal. You have crossed every fucking boundary there is." A true and correct copy of the Granny's Watching live stream audio lasting 16 minutes and 54 seconds from May 9th is attached here too and is incorporated by reference herein. Let me just, again, skirt the brakes. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, but I think that was in reference to a live stream where somebody had supposedly called Brittany's children's school and had them looked at or said that there was bruises or something on them. And then the very next day, somebody called Granny's Watching's children's school and did the same thing. And in her upsetness and anger at the fact that her child had to be basically stripped down to their underwear to be checked for bruises, she said this. And again, I will make you the fucking victim. In my opinion, allegedly, Brittany plays the victim a lot because she makes money from it. That's just my opinion. That's just me looking from the outside. That's what I see. Again, she supports her family by herself. So if playing the victim gets you money and you need that money to support your family, do what you got to do. But I mean, you do play the victim a lot, in my opinion. You want to go legal was in reference to Brittany saying that she was going to go legal, which she eventually did by filing this or being involved in this lawsuit. And she says, "I will give you a reason to go legal. You have crossed every fucking boundary there is." Again, if I'm not mistaken, any mother who found out that her child had to be taken and looked at by other adults down to their underwear that's crossing a lot of boundaries, and I think anybody would be really upset with what had happened, even though it had just happened to Brittany the day before. She, everybody in the heat of the moment says things that they might not later be proud of saying. And I do believe she deleted that live stream, because I saw it, and like 5 minutes later, it was not there anymore. I saw it and then it was gone. So she deleted it pretty shortly after. Yeah, I was watching the live when she got the call too. Okay, but that's just my thoughts, opinions, and alleged speculations on that. 138. Defendant Granny's watching to make Brittany a victim and provoke a legal retaliation demonstrates, a malicious targeted attack designed to intimidate and harass, further supporting a claim of racketeering activity under 18 USC statute 1961. Basil's chewing, I'm sorry if y'all hear that. Those threats made in public also serve to escalate the level of intimidation, forming part of the conspiracy to obstruct Brittany's effort to defend herself legally. Defendant Granny's Watchin continued her attack on Brittany J's character in a public forum, stating, "You are a lazy, wasteful piece of shit. I don't speak on you, Brittany. I don't fucking talk about you." See Exhibit 54. Defendant Granny's Watchin acknowledgement of her involvement in a coordinated retaliatory effort against Brittany J and her associates further highlights the presence of an enterprise engaging in racketeering activity. Defendant Granny's Watchin states, "Then I'm gonna fucking be, and I'm gonna do to you every single thing that you and your fucking YouTube associates do to me and mine." I mean, I don't think that's a threat. I think that's saying she's going to do exactly what's been done to her back to you, but that's just my opinion. Defendant Granny's Watching statements demonstrate her active participation in a conspiracy. Okay, come the fuck on. Under the Code 903, an involvement in a corrupt organization as defined under Statute 911, with her reference to Brittany's YouTube associates, indicating a broader network of individuals collaborating to attack and harass Brittany, thereby forming the basis for a civil conspiracy claim under Pennsylvania law supporting the RICO elements of a coordinated enterprise. But I think she's stating that Brittany had basically what you're wanting to call a coordinated enterprise. I mean, that's what that said to me, but that's just me. 142. Defendant Granny's Watching attempts to downplay her actions by stating, "Playing your own words isn't harassing and bullying. You know what harassing and bullying is? First off, we're adults." At timestamp 254 through 3. A true and correct copy of the Granny's Watching audio from May 9th, lasting 4 minutes and 32 seconds, is attached here too as Exhibit 55. And incorporated by reference herein. This dismissive statement is part of an ongoing campaign of cyberbullying disguised as playing words back to deflect accountability, falling under the scope of 18 Penal Code 2709, and contributing to a RICO claim by forming part of a sustained organized harassment aimed at causing Brittany emotional distress and reputational harm. They do it to each other, and playing somebody's words back is just that, playing their words back, in my opinion. Defendant Granny's Watching also targeted Brittany J by spreading false and inflammatory narratives implying that Brittany neglects or abuses her own children. "You won't find bags under my kids' eyes. You won't ever catch me driving with my children unbuckled and standing up." A true, correct copy of the Granny's Watching audio clip from May 9th, lasting 44 seconds, is attached as Exhibit 56. These statements constitute further defamation aimed at discrediting Brittany as a mother and person, fostering public animosity against her through... Yeah, that's not a threat. So they are saying they can do what they want without consequences. Exactly, Trixie. It's not, if your own words are being played and you don't want them repeated, then don't say them on a live. Exactly. Malicious and false insinuations about child neglect are designed to damage her reputation both within her community and online. Defendant Granny's watching statements demonstrate a clear intent to manipulate public perception and discredit Brittany J's reputation as seen in her direct statements. How dare you, Brittany? How fucking dare you put this shit on me? If you know, I came so she can hide that. She fucking does it. See Exhibit 56. Defendant Granny's watching has employed coordinated defamatory tactics to harm plaintiff. Oh crap. Hold on. Let me do it this way. Hold on just a second. Let me read it this way. I missed one. My bad. I'm going to finish reading this page and then I'll bring it back up. Plaintiff Brittany J. is part of a broader enterprise involving multiple individuals aimed at discredit and shaming her. In a live stream, defendant Granny's watching falsely implicated Brittany J. in the tragic death of a man outside her home, using strategies consistent with those employed by defendant Granny's watching and others in the criminal enterprise. Defendant Granny's watching repeated and malicious actions. Defendant Granny's watching's repeated and malicious actions violate Pennsylvania harassment statutes and the defamation law, the racketeering influence and corrupt organization, and Pennsylvania's Corrupt Organization Act. Defendant Granny's watching mentions the tragic death of a man outside of Brittany J's home is a deliberate attempt to weaponize personal misfortunes to manipulate the public's perception and defame Brittany J. Defendant Granny's watching stated, "Let's talk about the man that died outside her home and what happened with that." A true and correct copy of the 40-second Granny's watching live stream clip from July 24th, 2024 is attached hereto as Exhibit 57, incorporated by reference herein. What was I was going to say something about that and I forgot. Oh, in my humble opinion, allegedly speculating over here, I do think that Brittany J has gotten actually more viewers because, people have been hate watching her lately. So, again, being talked about, I would think that she has gotten more money, more views, and been paid more since she's been talked about. Just, my opinion, because people hate watch. I wonder, just, wondering for wondering's sake, if we go back and look and see if we could go all the way back to before this started happening and before Granny's watching ever mentioned Brittany and before there was ever any hate or her talking about her and compare the views of the lives to views she's getting now, which one would be larger? And again, the larger live, the more views she has, the more money she's being paid for doing her lives. So again, could you not say that she's making money because of this instead of losing money because of this? Just in my humble opinion. Oh, yeah. I know that supposedly it happened on a live stream. And the reason Granny brought that up is because Brittany J made them take the memorial down because supposedly they were coming all hours of the day and night and waking her kids up and shining lights in the windows and things like that. So she went out there and supposedly, allegedly, they tore down the memorial they had for this young man that was outside of her house in the ditch line. Allegedly, I don't know. That's all I really know about that. And evidently she's saying that the person's haunting her house. I know that it happened on a live stream. So, it's out there. Anyway, back to this. This is the last 3 pages I have redacted. So after this, we'll talk about the new one that SF filed. Defendant Granny's watching uses the tragedy to suggest that Brittany J was at fault or behaved inappropriately following the incident, mirroring the broader strategy used by defendant Granny's watching and others in the enterprise to exploit personal events, such as family disputes or tragedies, for defamatory purposes. This pattern is consistent with defendant Granny's Watching's attacks on Mr. Rogers, Mr. Mathis, Mr. Hat, Mr. Hong, and Mrs. BHB, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Mrs. that other lady from TikTok, and many others, where she similarly weaponized their personal experiences to discredit them. Defendant Granny's Watching exploitation of this tragedy is part of the enterprise's continuous scheme to defame individuals by manipulating personal stories, fitting the continuity prong of RICO, as it represents not an isolated incident but a pattern of ongoing defamation and harassment aimed at the plaintiffs. Defendant Granny's Watching employed sarcasm and false sympathy to insinuate that Brittany J. failed to respect the family of the deceased. Defendant Granny's Watching remarked, "Yeah, it must have been horrifying, but let's talk about how much respect was shown to their family that was mourning." And again, let me say, because supposedly, allegedly, over here, me just speculating, she tore down the memorial because they were coming all hours of the day or night instead of just moving it. Allegedly, supposedly, speculating, in my opinion. This sarcastic commentary pretends to express concern while subtly suggesting that Brittany J. was callous in her response to the tragedy. This tactic mirrors defendant Granny's Watching use of sarcasm when mocking Mr. Rogers, Miss Bullhorn Betty, Mr. Mathis, Mr. Hat, Mr. Hong, the other lady from TikTok, Dog the Bounty Hunter, and others attempting to twist the narrative or damage their reputations while maintaining a veneer of objectivity. Defendant Granny's Watching statements also function to incite her audience to join in the public shaming of Brittany J. She describes the death outside of Brittany J.'s home in detail, encouraging her followers to focus on how Brittany handled the tragedy. "Yeah, she called me and told me some poor younger guy died outside of her home." See Exhibit 57. This tactic of rallying her audience to reinforce the narrative is part of the enterprise's strategy to mobilize collective attacks, with defendant Granny's Watching and defendant Barbecue Lady both inciting followers to participate in coordinated harassment, such as reporting plaintiffs' GoFundMe accounts. The mobilization for public shaming satisfies the enterprise element of RICO, demonstrating the organized and coordinated nature of their activities. Defendant Granny's Watching narrative about the man's death is part of a broader effort to craft defamatory stories that cast plaintiffs like Brittany J. in a negative light, without any factual basis. Skirt! That happened on a live stream. There's newspaper reports, and she said what she did, not Granny's Watching. She's the one who said that she supposedly, allegedly moved the memorial and destroyed it instead of moving it. So, without any factual basis, I think if she said it herself and it came out of her own mouth, it's a factual basis, right? Like, I'm just, asking for a friend. Oh, wow. Trixie says that her son's memorial is still up on someone's property after 10 years. I'm sorry that your son died, hon. I hate that for you. I'm so sorry. That's a sad thing for anybody to have to deal with. Defendant Granny's Watching comment, "Let's talk about how much respect was shown to their family that was mourning," is intended to portray Brittany J. as morally lacking, even though there's no evidence to support such claims. This tactic is used throughout the enterprise by defendant Granny's Watching, who often twists personal stories, such as Mr. Rogers' custody battle, to create damaging narratives that undermines the plaintiff's credibility. The use of deflection to frame plaintiffs for events they had no control over is a coordinated strategy within the enterprise. By twisting narratives... Oh, hold on. Let me plug my computer in. It's about to die. It just went dark, and I could not see. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Hold on. Lordy, lordy. It came unplugged. I gotta plug it up because I can't see. There we go. Lord. Have mercy. Okay, by twisting narratives to cast blame on the plaintiffs, defendants Granny's Watching, defendant Barbecue Lady engage in a continuous scheme of defamation and harassment, further supporting the RICO claim. And I think I got to Bullhorn Betty's. Yep, I got the first page of Bullhorn Betty. So this is the last page that I got done of the original filing. So, count 1, defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress against Bullhorn Betty. Now, as I read this, I want us to remember her screaming outside of Billy Joe Howell and Leilani Simon's house, and then playing Babies Crying at 3 a.m. And we need to remember the neighbor that had hospice going on, and that lady that was just trying to die in peace at her house, while Bullhorn Betty and Justin and all of those people are out there playing Babies Crying at 3 o'clock in the morning, really loud, and to wake up the whole neighborhood. To the extent that this person who was at home trying to die in hospice with peace and dignity had to go to hospice to die. Okay, just keep all that in mind as I read this. Plaintiff Bullhorn Betty incorporates by referencing all preceding paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. True and correct copy of the sworn declaration Bullhorn Betty is attached hereto as Exhibit 58 and incorporated by reference herein. Defendants, somebody engaged in a well-coordinated campaign of defamation, harassment, and intimidation against Miss Bullhorn Betty. I think it's Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching. As described in her declaration, the campaign involved multiple people acting in concert to damage her reputation, disrupt her work, and instill fear in her daily life. Defendant Granny's Watching initially targeted Bullhorn Betty in 2021, with the attacks intensifying as Miss Bullhorn Betty's profile grew, particularly during the high-profile investigation of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers in March 2024. Granny's Watching labeled Miss Bullhorn Betty a tragedy pimp and grifter, and disseminated false information, all with the intent to harm Bullhorn Betty's reputation and credibility. I think she did that just by herself, just fine, in my opinion, allegedly. Under Pennsylvania law, these statements constitute defamation per se, as they impute dishonorable conduct to Miss Bullhorn Betty, damaging her reputation and in her profession. The defamatory and harassing conduct also included false reports to law enforcement, resulting in Miss Bullhorn Betty unjust arrest based on fabricated claims from people under Granny's influence, thereby disrupting her investigations and damaging her professional standing. And that's all I have on that. I'll work on getting some more of these redacted tomorrow, and we'll go over them. But now I do have the SF Investigates one, and so we'll pull that up. So this is going to be basically SF Investigates is filing this in response to what I've read to you, and there's more I'll work on getting redacted, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Let me get it pulled up. So basically, SF Investigates was like, no, you're not going to roll in here with that bullshit. Let me just go ahead and file this real quick. And then Brittany J tried to say that it was like not valid in court. Hold on. Let me find my files. That's the one that was empty. There it is. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'll work on getting some more of those redacted, and we'll read them again tomorrow night. But basically, SF Investigates is filing this and saying, yeah, we're not going to be having this bullshit. Let me file this. And Brittany said that they couldn't find it publicly listed, and it could possibly be because it was thrown out of court. And no, the issue is that the defendants In the RICO filing lawsuit that I was just reading to you, they haven't even been served yet, and a judge has not signed off on that paperwork. So you basically, this is a response to that paperwork, and we can't have a response to the paperwork until the paperwork has been entered in court. It hasn't even been entered in court yet. So therefore, we can't have this yet because the paperwork that this is responded to has not even been entered in court and signed by a judge and served. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hey, Teresa, thank you for being here and thank you for your comment. Oh, yeah, Trixie says because BHB and her harassment, a law was passed in Florida and an ordinance in Georgia. Wow. That should tell you a lot right there. And they're trying to say that these people did this. That's insane. Teresa, I hope I'm just reading papers that I've redacted to protect people. But yeah, people need to understand the truth and what's going on. So with that, I'll get started with this. It says, okay, I know this is the first page because of how it looks. So in the Court of Common Pleas of Delaware County, Pennsylvania, SF, Tennessee licensed private investigator, non-party opposer versus At Night Media, which consists of BJ, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Hong, BHB, Crime and Something from TikTok, Julia the Dog Lady, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Nick the Hat, all of those. Okay. Non-party opposition motion for preliminary injunction. The introduction. SF investigates a Tennessee licensed private investigator hereby file this non-party opposition to the motion for preliminary injunction filed by At Night Media and LLC and the other plaintiffs. That was the paperwork I was just reading to you that I wasn't able to finish. The plaintiffs, particularly At Night and its members, have no standing to seek injunctive relief in this case, as they are not licensed private investigators in the state of Tennessee, nor are they licensed in any state where their investigative activities have allegedly occurred. Their actions not only violate state licensing laws, but also improperly interfere with the legitimate investigation into the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. This opposition challenges the legitimacy of the plaintiffs' claims, their standings as investigators, and the jurisdiction and venue of this case. The plaintiff's motion should be denied for the following reasons, and he's about to lay it out. One is irreparable harm. The plaintiffs have not shown that they will suffer irreparable harm. The court finds... Oh, hold on. I might have went back. This might be the last one. I don't know why that's number 2. Hold on a minute. Lordy. Okay, I know this is number 2. Okay. Let me look at this. Nope, not that. Hold on, I've got my papers messed up. Let me share this with you. Okay. Actually, you know what? I can do it like this just to be sure. Like I was just doing before. Hold on, let me get this pulled up. That way I'll know that it's in order for 100%. Okay. So I just read page 1. This is page 2. I knew I had it wrong. See? Okay, let me close this stuff out real quick. Okay, for the follow. Okay, so he said these are the reasons why basically the paperwork should be denied. 2, the argument. A, plaintiffs are operating as an unlicensed investigative agency. At Night Media, LLC, and its employees are acting as a private investigation intelligence agency without the required licenses, violating Tennessee law and the laws of other states. Their website, accessible at clearly advertises services typically associated with licensed private investigators. According to their website, they offer services such as criminal investigation, covert operations, intelligence collection. These are services that fall squarely within the purview of a licensed private investigators and law enforcement agencies. Furthermore, At Night requires a $500,000 retainer to engage in their services, demonstrating that they are conducting business as an unlicensed private intelligence agency. Additionally, when At Night announced that they would be investigating the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, they publicly disclosed a plan to use extreme and unethical measures such as the administration of prescription drugs and so-called, quote, truth serums to coerce individuals into providing information. These tactics not only violate legal and ethical standards, but also further prove that At Night is attempting to operate as an unlicensed investigative entity. Their methods are not only illegal, but also threaten to compromise the integrity of any legitimate investigation by tampering with potential evidence in a manner that would render it inadmissible in court. Plaintiff Nick the Hat prohibited from engaging in investigations by his parole conditions. Plaintiff Nick the Hat, as noted in plaintiff's own filings, is currently on parole. His parole officer has restricted his ability to engage in any further involvement in this case, citing violation of his parole terms. According to their complaint, Nick the Hat has been explicitly barred from engaging with law enforcement in any capacity, and upon information and belief he has been rendered to mental health care. This not only undermines his credibility, but also further demonstrates that the plaintiffs have no standing to act in any investigative capacity. In any investigative work or engagement with law enforcement attempted by Nick the Hat was done without authority, violating his parole and calling into question the validity of the plaintiff's claims. Dog, the bounty hunter, is not a licensed private investigator. Plaintiff Dog the Bounty Hunter is a well-known public figure and bounty hunter. However, he is not a licensed private investigator in Tennessee or any other state. Bounty hunting is distinct from private investigation, and Dog has no legal authority to conduct investigative activities related to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. His involvement in the case further demonstrates that the plaintiffs are not acting in a legally sanctioned investigative capacity. Dog's legal or D is going to be, I think, Bullhorn Betty legal violations. Plaintiff Bullhorn Betty has a direct connection to the case through her involvement with 4 protective orders currently in force against her. Bam. I'm going to read that again. With 4 protective orders currently in force against her, all related to this case. Hello, At Night. I'm just now seeing you. Thank you for being here. Dog is a senile old actor that got cut for racist and homophobic public remarks. Hey, allegedly in my opinion, but I'm with you there, mate. Okay. Doo-doo. Hold on just a minute. Okay. BHB has been arrested and charged with 6 violations of these protective orders At Night, which represents Bullhorn Betty has no standing to seek injunctive relief on her behalf, or which means that Nick has no standing to seek injunctive relief on her behalf, especially when her own actions have violated court orders related to this very case. I mean, there you go. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Seth Rogers' self-admission as a suspect. Seth Rogers, the father of Sebastian Rogers, has repeatedly self-admitted that he is a suspect with law enforcement in the disappearance of his son. His role in this case raises serious concerns about the legitimacy of the plaintiff's claims. Furthermore, as a non-custodial parent, Seth Rogers lacks the authority to pursue these legal claims without the consent of the custodial parent, who has not filed any such claims. TikTok Tony's role lacks credibility and authority. Plaintiff TikTok Tony, who has been portrayed as a spokesperson for the plaintiffs, has no prior experience in such a role, nor does he have any. Oh, really? No, you're good. You're good, Kiwi. The facts of public record except the dementia. However, his interviews are enough evidence for me, no doubt. She can only appeal Chris's order. The other 3, she's out of time. I'm just saying. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3. I think we're on 4 now. Hold on, let me read the last part of that again. I got sidetracked. Okay. Nor does he have any, talking about Tony, he does not have any, 1, 2, 3, 4, investigative experience or legal authority to act on behalf of the plaintiffs in this case. His involvement appears to be purely performative, serving no legitimate purpose in furthering the investigation of Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. Instead, TikTok Tony's primary role seems to involve hosting late-night 2 a.m. chat sessions with females interested in the case on TikTok, where he is infamous for inappropriate behavior, including exposing himself during these live streams, allegedly, in my opinion, reading this paperwork, allegedly, speculating, allegedly. This conduct further calls into question his credibility and sustainability to act in any professional or public-facing role, as in this case, Tony's actions, far from assisting the investigation, appear to be self-serving and designed to garner attention rather than aid in any meaningful resolution of the case. None of the plaintiffs have standing to claim interference. The plaintiffs are unlicensed investigators and thus cannot claim that they are being interfered with in any investigation. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, TBI, and Sumner County Sheriff's Office, have not alleged any interference in their own legitimate investigation. There is no credible claim that defendants in this case, who are YouTube content creators providing commentary, have interfered with any licensed or legitimate investigation. Plaintiffs' claims are baseless and lack standing. H is the lack of jurisdiction and venue. The lawsuit was filed in Pennsylvania, but the central events concerning the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers took place in Tennessee. While the court may have jurisdiction over the individual defendants residing in Pennsylvania, it does not have appropriate jurisdiction over the larger case, which concerns the investigative activities and alleged interference occurring in Tennessee. The proper venue for such claims would be Tennessee, where the events in question transpired. Case law supporting non-party opposition to unlicensed investigators. Tennessee courts have constantly upheld importance of licensure in the private investigation field. In Tennessee versus Duncan, 1999, the court held that private individuals or entities concluding investigations without proper licensure are not only acting illegally but are subject to both civil and criminal penalties. Any evidence gathered in such manner is inadmissible in court. Now, this is what I was talking about. Like, the one that SF filed seems to be more legit. It's not a bunch of word salad. He's like, the papers filed in Pennsylvania about acts that are happening in Tennessee where you have no jurisdiction. What the hell is a court in Pennsylvania going to do about shit happening in Tennessee? Basically. And he just lays it out like bam, bam, bam. And it's more legitimate in my opinion. I don't know if y'all can understand what I'm saying, but that's what I meant by his seems to be more legitimate. Moreover, the courts have ruled that only those properly licensed can claim interference with investigation. In Smith versus State Board of Private Investigators, that was in Tennessee in 2003, the court dismissed claims brought by an unlicensed investigator due to lack of standing. J, the plaintiff's claim for RICO status is absurd and fails to meet the legal standard. The plaintiff's attempt to claim RICO, which is Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act status in this case, is not only unfounded but absurd. The defendants in this case are two YouTube content creators, Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching, who are engaged in public commentary. There is no common business tie or ongoing enterprise linking the defendants to any alleged unlawful activity, nor is there any evidence of an enterprise, quote, under the meaning of RICO. The elements required to establish a civil RICO violation under both federal and Pennsylvania law are as follows. Existence of an enterprise, a group of persons associated together for a common purpose of engaging in a course of conduct. Pattern of racketeering activity. At least 2 acts of racketeering activity committed within a 10-year period. Connection to the enterprise. The defendant must have conducted or participated in the conduct of the enterprise's affairs through the pattern of racketeering activity. The plaintiff's allegations fail to meet even the most basic elements of a RICO claim. There is no evidence to suggest the existence of any, quote, enterprise involving the defendants. The defendants are independent YouTube creators, and there is no common business or legal relationship between them. And Seville Indus Machinery Corporation versus Southmost Machinery Corporation, 1984, the Third Circuit defined an enterprise as an entity composed of individuals or entities tied together through a common purpose. The court, yeah, exactly. Yep, Jen, I agree. I was surprised too that they got involved in it because they had not been involved in it in the whole time. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're on 7. Yeah, Teresa. Yeah, the Enterprise. What's next? Spock and Captain Kirk, no doubt. Yeah, it's definitely personal for BJ, and she really messed up because they used her. And I'm not trying to say useful idiot to make her feel bad or anything. I don't think she's an idiot, but I think that they definitely used her so she could be on the paperwork and basically tell her personal vendetta against Granny's Watching, and they could use that as like emotional evidence. And now she's got herself in a whole bunch of shit on some paperwork that don't make no sense, and she's never going to live it down, in my opinion. Moreover, this meritless legal filing appears to be nothing more than a publicity stunt orchestrated by a parolee. Nick the Hat has an unemployed reality television figure, Dog, whose career has long since faded. They are now resorting, with the help of publicity-seeking lawyers, to gain the public's attention at the expense of a missing 15-year-old boy from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Such conduct is not only improper, but an abuse of the legal system, and it must not be allowed to proceed under the guise of legitimate legal action. For these reasons, the motion for injunctive relief should be denied in its entirety. Respectfully submitted, SF Investigates. And then here's what he's asking the court to sign. Hold on. These two are the last ones. 1. Irreparable harm. The plaintiffs have not shown that they will suffer irreparable harm. The court finds that any harm claimed by plaintiffs who are unlicensed private investigators is not legally cognizable. No licensed or legitimate investigative activity is being interfered with. Likelihood of success on the merits. The plaintiffs have not demonstrated a likelihood of success on the merits, as they lack proper licensure to conduct investigations, and their claims are based on unlawful activities. Balance of equity. The balance of equity favors the defendants, as granting the requested relief would improperly shield unlicensed investigative activities and suppresses public commentary on a matter of public concern. Public interest. The public interest weighs against granting injunctive relief. The court finds that silencing public reporting and commentary on the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers would harm the ongoing investigation and the broader public interest, as law enforcement has requested public vigilance. Accordingly, it is ordered that all injunctive relief sought by the plaintiff is denied. And he said it's so ordered, and he gave the judge a place to sign and notarize, and I'm not sure what this one says. Oh, that's the first part of their order. Okay, my goodness. Hey, Jenny, you finally got back when we're about to end. So, yeah, that's what I have so far redacted. As far as the RICO filing, and then that last set was what SF investigates filed, basically saying, yeah, no, we're not having none of your bullshit. Yeah. I don't think the RICO charges in Pennsylvania are going to stand, but I do think that they're going to try to jump from state to state to state to state. And basically, I think basically what they're doing is just throw paperwork out and see if something sticks to the wall. I think SF investigates paperwork will stick to the wall. Because again, the main reason is Pennsylvania has no jurisdiction over Tennessee. So why are you filing paperwork in Pennsylvania referencing Tennessee? Is a big thing for me. Jenny, I did want to say thank you for coming back. I do appreciate you. I'm going to have to end this stream because it's really late here. I do appreciate you guys being here and listening to me just talk. My throat is sore. So I'm gonna clean up the kitchen from dinner, and then I'm gonna get in the bed. I will be live in the morning. We will be talking about things that happened today in Sarah Boone and Leilani Simon trial, and I will get that thumbnail made so that it is put in advance. Thank you, Jen Absolute, Teresa, your Kiwi mate, all the new faces in here, as well as my other lovely family members, my Trixie, my Eek, all of you. I really appreciate you being here and listening to me run my mouth. I hope that y'all have a good night. I hope you have the best night ever, and I hope to see y'all in the morning. And don't get caught up in any craziness tonight out here on these YouTube streets. Have the best night ever. I'll see y'all in the morning. Bye.